Welcome, everybody, to our broadcast of DZG Arcadia taking on Final Boss Esports in the quarterfinals of the Blue Otter Emerald League. My name is Symphonic, and I am joined by Silent Elements. Silent, how you doing?
I am doing well. It's been a while since we've casted together.
Yeah, it happens. Busy lives, busy everything, but man, DZG Arcadia making that miracle run to make it to playoffs. It's been a good time. 3-0 in their last three series, so that's always a big plus. And we're already into Champ Select, or at least into Draft Select, and we've got Gragas Maokai Skarner, banned by DZG, Jinx Zed Jarvan, banned by Final Boss. A lot of things still available that are strong. Things like the big dragon, forget his name already, small dragon. It's been a while. Jeez Louise. Nope, I'm not going to
Smolder.
remember his name. Yep, Smolder, but it's Zeri instead. Zeri, still one of those super strong ADCs. Still scales well. It does well into just about any matchup. Short range, though, kind of scary, but we'll see what Final Boss wants to do to respond. Spicy Veigar pick. Spicy Veigar pick indeed. Taking advantage of that Zeri small range. Gonna have to play forward, potentially hit a cage. Not a bad pickup. I guess could be flex potentially between mid and ADC if the ADC for Final Boss plays it. I'm expecting a jungle pick here. A lot of good jungle options still available. Things like Zinzao, Volibear, but nope. Rumble. Final Boss drafting potentially their solo lanes in these first two picks.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because there's usually a response to the Zeri first, just because that's the one pick you can see. And in Rumble, I kind of see because you can flex it within jungle. You could put it top, you can put it mid. So I'm curious, what's the intention from Final Boss?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of pick potential. They have a lot of kind of like disengage, re-engage kind of options available for them. I mean, at the moment, fairly flexible unless they want to show anything. But DZG isn't too worried about it. Going to pick up the Zac. Concern being, Veigar Cage does stop Zac E midair if he goes through the cage area, but he could find a good flank. And then Vi's going to be picked up. So Zac absolutely going into the jungle. I guess it can go top. Or I'm sorry, going support. I guess it could go top. But Vi jungle definitely going to solidify that DZG wants to go in, and they are not being deterred by the Veigar Rumble so far.
Yeah, I'm honestly I see a lot of AP coming from Final Boss, so I expect to see something AD coming within this pick just because to have that balance, but it looks like it's a new
Nope.
tier.
Just more AP, I guess. I mean, again, it's just they're very much focused Final Boss on disengage, right? Like Veigar has a cage, Rumble has the ultimate, Udyr has his ultimate that also kind of provides disengage and constant DPS, or dot damage. So it's a very defensive stance here. I mean, this is still quite flexible. I mean, Udyr can go jungle, Udyr can go top, Rumble can go top, mid, or jungle, like you mentioned. Veigar can go mid or AD. I guess it could technically even go top. But it's a very flexible draft, I guess, so far for Final Boss based on where they want to put things. Xayah going to be removed off the table for DZG, saying we don't want you to play any more defensively than you already are. So we're going to take that off the table. And then Shen, Final Boss is getting rid of Canny Shen so that he can't dive as easily with the Vi or the Zac or say the Zeri from a potential pick situation. I'm assuming Final Boss is going to continue to target top lane. Things like Olaf are still available for Canny. But no, it's actually going to be Talia, going to be potentially removed here from Anarchus in the mid lane. Interesting choice as there's not, I mean, aside from, I guess, pushing the wave in and roaming faster than Veigar, there's no real dashes in on Final Boss's side that would be stopped or anything that would really benefit the initial placement of that, like, minefield. But hey, who knows?
The only thing I could see right now is that Shen gives me a feeling that's an Udyr top just because Rumble kind of counters Shen with what he can do. Oh, look, it's an Urgot.
Oh,
So
so I think it's Veigar ADC then, yeah?
yeah, it looks like it is gonna go Veigar ADC, but I don't think to me Urgot doesn't provide a lot of AD damage to the point that you have it consistently. So they're definitely depending on this Veigar's late AP to auto turrets and basically shred the turret. But I'm not quite sure if that's the best idea with the amount of engage that DZG has picked up.
Yeah, it's a very interesting pickup here. I mean, I did mention or the Olaf. Olaf is available and can walk past the Udyr ult, can walk past the Veigar cage, can ignore Urgot's slows and flip. It's also, I think, a pretty solid matchup, I guess, into the Urgot. I mean, he's going to be able to heal a lot through hitting the Urgot, probably ignore a lot of the damage that he's doing. But Final Boss just picking a lot of very close range champions here in response, like not really trying to play the normal distance game you kind of get. It's more like, yeah, we dare you to come towards us. We're just going to draft damage so that we can just let your engage be our engage, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what DZG is gonna finish with. It looks like a Nazir.
Yeah. Azir's pretty solid. I mean, they do what they do. It does damage, it does disengage, it has strong siege potential, it can create space, it can create a well-timed shuffle, it could push things like a Vagar, or whatever I'm assuming support that they're gonna pick here for final boss, unless they're flexing that Vagar or the Rumble into the support role. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting. I'm assuming maybe like a Nautilus or like a Alistar, something that's just gonna peel. But you know what? Who am I to judge where anything goes at this point? I mean, for all I know, I have that hunch in my heart's heart that it's going to be a Rumble support, but like, they also we'll be able to know as we get into the actual client draft. But that's final boss. I mean, they're different, I guess.
Yeah, this it's a draft I would expect out of solo queue. It doesn't really seem like it has a lot of synergy together. I mean, at the same time, DZG doesn't really. I mean, maybe the Zac, but if Zac doesn't build pure tank and goes a little bit more AP, Trundle doesn't really have any stats to steal. So it's going to be interesting to see how he intends to walk in and walk out because essentially that is Udyr's job as well. I mean, Rumble essentially wants to just throw down his ult and then kind of just get to his over clock. And then with Vygarsh, he just wants to scale. So I'm not quite sure what they're intending, but I think that if Olaf can beat Urgot in the top lane and make sure that his placement on axes is where he can pick it up again, I think it's going to be hard to stop this Olaf from running straight through it into Vygar.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's definitely. I don't know. I feel it's like with this draft, it's definitely final boss's game to lose. I feel like they're throwing anything that they can at a wall and hoping it sticks, or maybe they're taking this game to try something new. That it is a best of 5 series. It could go up to 5 games. Maybe they're taking game one here to just kind of try something different, try something unconventional, and kind of put DZG on a weird back foot, against what is arguably a very conventional draft for DZG, a very hard engage kind of run at them kind of thing, pick off a squishy. But to be fair, the only real squishy here, I mean, Vagar and arguably Rumble are really the only real squishies against this team. So it's almost like Vi goes in, but I fear that Vi will never get out. So it's almost like DZG has to be able to follow up. They have to be able to target down this damage or this front line. It's a really weird draft to say that DZG has got this, despite the fact that it's a conventional versus unconventional, just because it's unpredictable what final bosses draft, how well they will play their draft, and if it's something that they've been practicing these specific picks or this specific strategy in response to a full dive comp.
Yeah, from my perspective, it feels like Final Boss has the three tanks, Udyr, Urgot, and Trundle to kind of peel for Vygar, and then Rumble has his ult, but it really isn't meant to do much, so hopefully it's a really good placed ult. Because other than that, their only protection is Vygar's cage. So essentially, if the front line does not exist, it's going to be really hard for the rest of the team to kind of cooperate. But at the same time, Final Boss is giving a late game feel to it. So if they can get to that late game, Rumble throwing in ults, Vygar scaling can be something that can kind of chunk out the DZG as they try to engage. But at the same time, DZ doesn't technically have to force engages because they kind of can use Azir to kind of build up scale and then essentially just use the soldiers to just stab all the front line that Final Boss has.
Yeah. No, I mean that's very true. I mean, it's kind of like Azir just should in theory be able to free hit here. There's not really anything that threatens him too much. I mean, he outranges everybody, so in theory he shouldn't. But as we're getting into the actual inclined champ select, we're seeing some interesting champ, I guess, placement. We're seeing the Trundle go top lane instead of the Udyr. The Udyr's going in the jungle, and so far it's Urgot in the mid lane into his ear. So, I mean, they still will have him up until the 20-second mark to be able to swap around and decide final placement on these champions. But it's a very interesting kind of situation because I'm curious to see where these matchups play because like I don't think anything to do with Azir aside from the Vagar is actually going to do well unless they're going to play to camp mid and blow flashes early. But I mean, Azir can play pretty far away and be able to shuffle out pretty safely into something like an Urgot, even an Udyr, unless the Azir is very far mispositioned or very far forward, and the Udyr has the Ghost. So I don't know. it's interesting as we round out this last pick, which is going to be potentially the Rumble support. I mean, yeah, I mean Rumble support. It's a thing. I mean, we've seen it in Korea. We've seen it does a lot of damage, deceivingly high damage amounts in the first 2 to 3 levels that can actually like burst down a champion if the Zeri gets out, caught out. Zach, of course, will have passive, but it's I think it's a hard matchup for DZG to play this bot lane into what is arguably high damage and high disengage into a comp that wants to just kind of go in. It's going to be really reliant on them playing around the Veigar cage timer and being able to kind of work with their jungler to kind of either bait that out and then be able to all in, or be able to play from Fog of War. Once Zach gets about 3 points into that elastic slingshot, it'll be a lot easier for him to be able to engage from Fog of War and maybe outpace the Veigar cage. But yeah, we did hit the past the 20-minute mark or 20-second mark, so it is going to be Urgot mid into the Azir and Trundle top and then Rumble Veigar bot lane. So I'm interested to say the least to see how this comp plays and excited for this best of five, I guess.
For me, I do agree that bot lane is definitely to watch. I feel like with Rumble being the support, I feel like it's gonna end up with the wave shove just because he's gonna want to proxy Zeri off the wave, and essentially DZG should be pushed in theoretically just because of Rumble's early damage until the potentially level 3, but that also allows Vi to get an easy gank potentially. But I've played both Urgot and Azir. I don't think I would feel comfortable playing Urgot mid just because you're kind of letting Azir scale freely and you're not really getting anything out of it other than getting stabbed by his soldiers.
Yeah, again, aside from Veigar, yeah, I don't know. This is again, it's super interesting. I wish I had more like insight on this, but I just truly don't. It'll just be a very interesting and explosive game one. I think it'll be one for the ages. But I guess Silent, last notes. Which team do you favor here? DZG bias included.
I think as long as DZG plays to their win cons and does not let bot lane get ahead or any kind of lead, I feel like DZG has it. I think Final Boss has a very complicated um team comp that really relies on bot lane getting ahead as well as hoping that the Trundle kind of throws it off because basically they save kind of their flex pick and then their top pick, which is their highest ranked accounts, this top and support for these kind of counterplays. So if either of those do not pan out, I feel like it's not gonna look good for a final boss.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree. I think it's really is. I just don't have much more insight than that. But with that, we'll throw it to a quick break as we load onto the rift. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back with game number 1 of DZG Arcadia versus Final Boss Esports in the BOL Emerald League. Welcome back, everyone, to our first game of this best of five series, where we have DZG Arcadia on the blue side and Final Boss Esports on the red side. Uh, we see Arcadia already setting up a 5 point, and it looks like Final Boss might be going for a delayed invade here. 5 stack on this bot Tribush. May just go try, I guess, at this point. So it'll be interesting to say the least. And something we were just talking about off air. I do think it's like they need to, or Vinyl Boss wants to kind of be explosive in this like top half of the map, find these leads, find ways of setting DZG behind or just getting themselves ahead. And like their Vagar likely to be the insurance policy here to just kind of lame out the bot lane Zeri Zach and just kind of stack up and just kind of be this final resort, I guess, for them in case this early game does not go well. But it looks like the late invade is going to get called off. Final boss going to go back to leashing for Zeta here in the jungle, and we're looking to see a wolf start for DZG's jungler, looking for a non-leash start to allow their laners to kind of assert their dominance in their lanes.
It should be interesting to see, how top lane's gonna pan out just because I feel like Olaf can do really well with just straight up engaging early and forcing that level 2 fight right now. So I feel like it's just in favor of thus Olaf, but we'll see how this pans out.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a very volatile matchup up here. Both champions really thrive in being low health or deceivingly low health with the healing that they both provide. Both with Trundle's Q, Olaf's lifesteal off his W, or yeah, I think his W. So it's again it's a very volatile matchup. I think as soon as the first kill is given, I think that's almost not necessarily GG, but a very like snowbally way of the lane going without any kind of jungle assistance. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we're already seeing a lot of pressure from AliXO here onto Endicus on the Azir, taking advantage of this early game power that Azir lacks, where he makes up in range, he lacks in the damage, especially against those shotgun knees, and actually surprisingly able to kind of match some of this wave clear because of those shotgun knees passive. Junglers, though, are going to be on the opposite side of the map, so we are going to seeing a little bit more play for Final Boss on the solo lanes, where DZG's jungler is looking to affect this bot lane potential a little bit more, as DZG's bot lane's already pushing in this Vagar Rumble. Definitely not afraid of what this lane can do, and just playing comfortably down here and trying to just continue to assert this lane pressure.
Yeah, and I feel like it's crucial once grubs come up that DZG gets it because you don't want the other team with the Trundle, with the Vygar late game to kind of auto your turret. So any chance of them getting that 4 Void Grubs is super dangerous for DZG.
Yeah, and I mean, especially since the new patch, that dropped last week. There goes Zac engage here. Elastic's not going to land. The pullback as well. Flash, Vault Breaker there as well. Gonna force a flash out of Rumble. Ignite was also dropped onto Spicy Tuna Fish, and the play is going to be a net positive here for DZG. Flash for flash, Ignite for nothing, but it does set them up for a potential re-engage on this Rumble. I completely forgot the words that we were saying prior to that engage. Yep. No, I don't remember. It was something insightful, that's for sure. But we are seeing a ping into the invade here, and something that did happen was that Vi didn't do her blue buff. So in order to get down here, she opted to only clear the wolves, get the level 2, and get the level 3 off of the bot clear. So that does likely mean that Zeta here is going to be able to take advantage of this and take the blue buff and put himself even more ahead in this jungle 1v1 matchup, or at least in terms of clearing. Might greed for this Gromp will get found out here by Vi. It is a level 3 versus a level 4 Udyr here, though. Olaf could have first move, but it looks like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very back and forth where Vi may not be able to come in. Candy, though, getting slowed down by the pillar, getting traded very heavily here, is going to likely mean that Vi will have to give up this jungle pressure, or at least cede it, unless they want to call Olaf over at this level of health, but it's just going to be a continued fight up in the jungle here. It's just a battle of attrition. Which jungler will give up first? But it looks like it is going to be a smite fight here. Zeta will be able to smite it away, actually. Was able to use that smite and takes it away from our jungler here in DZG. Almost caught me with that name. I didn't realize he changed his name to that. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a very, aside from some of these fights, it's a very neutral kind of early game here from both teams. Neither one really trying to do anything too drastic aside from the gank and the invade. Both teams just happily kind of farming up, which does benefit some of the scalers on both sides.
Yeah, it was a little unfortunate that bot lane was pushed as far as they were so that the gank wasn't as effective, but it was great that Rumble got that They got the flash from Rumble, but at the same time, it's gonna be interesting to see, if Final Boss is gonna realize, hey, we need to get the Void Grubs because now with the update, only Void Grubs is needed to get that one Void Mite. So if they can get it, the Trundle will manage to get turrets quicker, and then Vigar later on will manage to just break turrets with just maybe 3 autos.
Yeah, and that's a very very good point to bring up. Yes, the change. Ooh, hold that thought. Flash, Elastic Slingshot, or the stretching strikes here. Vi's here as well. Spicy Tuna doesn't have flash. First blood gonna be picked up by DZG, but Zeta is here. Zeta is strong. Is potentially gonna get pushed off, and yes, Zeta is not able to follow up. As Faulty here does not have the mana to follow up, so that's a clean 1 for 0 here for DZG. Very good re-engage and very good abuse of that flashless Rumble.
Yeah, and Vigar has TP, so he honestly could have just gone back, got his mana, and then continued, but he's kind of being greedy with just staying here. And honestly, if it was me on that Zac, I'd want to punish him just because he's there. He's extended, there's no one here for him.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, definitely make use of those lack of resources. And in this case, yeah, I mean, Veigar is going to be able to get a recall off, is going to opt to hold that teleport as DCG's bot lane also seemingly going to be on a recall here. Never mind. Gonna just use the teleport anyways to try to get back to lane to actually get to the dragon, as it looks like Final Boss Esports here is gonna go ahead and starting this dragon. Veigar is actually just gonna look to continue this lane prio that he already has based on the wave placement, and DCG is gonna opt to go on the opposite side of the map here and start up these grubs. However, downside here being DCG jungler does not have prio from his solo lane, so one bad move, one bad rotation, one inkling that Final Boss may have about this scrub being started means that DZG will not have the priority here. And speaking of that inkling, here comes Trundle, and Olaf is not quick to follow. Neither is the Andicus, who had to force the recall, had to TP back in. LXO gonna use the Ghost here to try to catch up to DZG's jungler, but it is just gonna be one Void Grub going over to DZG, and 2 of them gonna be picked up here by Final Boss Esports.
Which means that they only need 2 more for these Void Mites, so DZG needs to play this second, when the Grubs come back up, a lot better than what they did in this first round.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a bit of a delay in terms of figuring out where Final Boss was going. If they had a little bit more information, knowing that they were going to start up this dragon after that recall from the bot lanes, or the fight in the bot lanes, then maybe DZG jungler could have been able to get there a little faster. However, Canny stuck up against the wall. Canny is going to be forced to use that ultimate. Ragnarok going to be forced just to get away from that pillar TC. The ultimate by Shaktis is going to be used as well from the Trundle here. The Subjugate going to be used as well, so ult for ult, but Canny a little bit worse for wear. Is still going to be trying to farm at a turret. However, DZG jungler is here. Look to maybe set this up here. Vault Breaker going to be charged up. Gonna get spotted out by that ward at that last second, but it is still going to be a relief of pressure here by DZG for Canny up in the top lane, who is down a little under 10 CS now, and these trades just have not been going too much in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because the lead where we thought that, we wouldn't have a lead would be bot lane, but right now bot lane managed to get via kill, so they do have a little bit extra gold, but at the same time, Vigar still scales, so unfortunately we're not seeing the leads that we were hoping to see in top lane, especially with the pillar. Kind of reminds me of, Poppy. You just don't really want to get in that position where you're stuck against something and you can't move.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It may be a bit of a matchup, lack of matchup knowledge, or just kind of one of those my bad moments or aha moments where you're like, yeah, that definitely shouldn't have happened. Just like you said, with a Poppy knocking the wall, the pillars, you really don't want to get stuck there, as it did force that ultimate. But yeah, I mean, potential regank here. I mean, there's wards that are going to spot DZ's jungler here. However, Elastic Slingshot is available. There comes the cage right there. However, this does allow the re-engage here. Flash is back and available, but not for Veigar just yet. That's going to be stretching strikes, and that's going to be a kill picked up by Kaiser Coolness, though, on the Zac. Unfortunately, not picked up by Castro or DZG's jungler here. It is going to set them up for it's just going to make the kill a little less worth it, though. Candy getting run down here. Subjugate and Ragnarok not available. Ragnarok just came up. Ghost going to be used as well. And that is going to be another not-so-great trade by DZG's top lane into the Shaktis. Canny going to be forced to just kind of farm this out. Maybe on the bot lane after that successful kill. Castro, though, going to find Spicy Tuna here. Zeta's here. Castro doesn't know that, though, so he is likely going to get caught out here. Ultimate going to come through from the Rumble. That's no ultimate available for Castro here. Flash is available. We'll opt to let it go. Ghost was used, however, and that is going to be a bit of an overstay here by DZG's ADC. Giving over their first kill of the game to Final Esports, being picked up by Zeta in the jungle. despite these kills, despite everything that's been going on, DZG's jungler has caught up on CS, despite having lost 2 of his camps to Zeta early. Is only down about 5 CS, and which is, a little over a camp, but now a little bit more now that the Scuttle Crab was picked up, but not too far back, despite having lost that first blue buff and Gromp to Zeta. So far, DZG sitting at about 1,000 gold lead here. Second Dragon coming up in just about another minute and a half here. That's going to be a good elastic slingshot. Good buffer there by Ali XO. Was able to buffer that with the dash. Was pulled back just a little bit, but enough space was made to be able to walk away. 1 more minute here until the Dragon spawns up. DZG gonna look to try to get some vision, but Kaiser Coolness will not be able to get out of this cage. Just force a slingshot forward. Gonna use the Let's Bounce. Castro is there. Ultimate gonna be used as well. Spicy Tuna going dangerously low. Zeta is here. Passive on Zac. May or may not be available. Not too sure just yet. Kaiser Coolness, though, gonna be able to dodge away. Doesn't have a second stretching strike available. The ultimate gonna pop off as well. Castro gonna live here. Flash! Q there by Falte, and that's going to be able to pick up the kill. Alex O is here as well. Ooh, just barely missing that ultimate. That would have been a clear execute. And that is going to be another kill picked up by Final Boss Esports right before this Dragon spawns. 30 seconds in. Teleport used up in the top lane by Canny. Likely going to mean that DZG is going to opt to give up this Dragon as the Void Grubs are available. Flash Vault Strike going to be there as well. Subjugate is there. Going to be used onto Clapper here. Shactus, the one more auto is going to be enough. Cackney is going to be able to pick up the kill here. And that's likely going to be DZG transitioning to pick up this Void Grubs, which, if picked up here, is going to give them the 4 Void Grubs, which would give them that touch of Void here, and going to be able to set themselves up to avoid Final Boss Esports from picking that up. Canny pushing the wave in, might look to roam here, or look to come back down and help Vi, but it looks like Vi is just going to solo those. Andikus taking mid lane pressure, going about 20 CS up on his lane opponent, and DZG, despite those kills up in the bot lane, is up about 1,500 gold, and is looking good here, looking quite good.
Yeah, and it was kind of... It looked good until it didn't, and I feel like I questioned why Azir even went out into the lane to dodge something, because I feel like he could have just went under turret and just left, but he ended up going toward the lane for some reason, and he got punished for it because Vigo was like, you know what, I can just kill you now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's it did force out the flash from Falte to be able to pick up that kill, but it's still, I mean, it's a bit of mispositioning. It looked kind of good into a potential 2v3 situation, seeing as how it was stemmed off of Kaiser getting caught out there. But I mean, it is tough. It is tough to definitely deal with that. That's another fight in the top lane, and DZG jungler's here as well. Olaf trying to live as long as he can. Oh, that's a really good delay by that pillar, but it will not be enough. Canny, having come back with that Phage and that Tiamat, it had more than enough damage to deal with Shactus here. That's going to be a second kill picked up by the DZG top laner. This is exactly what DZG wants to see here. Likes a slingshot getting charged up. Will actually go through with it. Kaiser, though, is going to be able to get just barely out of range of that Veigar cage. Will be able to walk away from that, but a solid pickup. Ooh, a dive, though, might be coming here for Final Esports. Or Final Boss Esports, as they're trying to set up this dive here. It does mean that Canny does get some time here up in the top lane. They are going to spot Zeta out here. Teleport going to come out, though, from the Shactus to prevent that first turret from being taken down. Dive is going to be avoided here by DZG just by existing, I guess. And Andikus is getting some really good poke out here. And Andikus extending that CS lead down to 25 CS over his lane opponent. Ali doing a lot of roaming, and unfortunately just has not paid off for Final Boss Esports.
Yeah, it's kind of that matchup that you really don't want to see in mid lane, where you have a scaling mid lane and you're kind of roaming and you're not getting anything out of it, and all you're doing is letting this mid lane just scale, and as you can see, it's starting to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just a few soldier autos. It's kind of what you mentioned. However, it does look like DZG is going to lose first turret up here, despite all the pressure that DZG's put up. The Shactus just able to come up here and do the things that Trundle does, which is head empty, pillar only, and just start clubbing away at that turret, and is going to be able to pick up that first turret gold. Going to reduce that lead back down to just a little under 2,000 gold for the side of DZG. But yeah, I mean, these soldiers definitely are starting to really hurt here, especially with that Nashor's Tooth being able to apply to those soldier strikes. And to be fair, AliXO hasn't built any MR yet, opting for that Ninja Tabby to be able to kind of still mitigate some of those auto attacks from the soldiers, but not necessarily the AP damage that is done by them. Canny, though, looking to trade this turret up, is going to run into both Zeta and the Shactus here. DZG trying to rotate up, is going to be Kaiser going to be followed up by AliXO here, though. Canny running down to his team. That is still going to be a 2v3 situation here. Canny forced a ghost, does not have access to anything else. Will be able to take the Hextech Gate. Very high heads-up play here by Canny. He's going to be able to get away and pull all that pressure from Final Boss Esports and going to be able to get away as if nothing happened.
Yeah, and this is kind of what DZG wants. They want the ones with the bounties to kind of continue scaling, and this bot lane, to get the additional items, which is unfortunate for Final Boss because all they have for late game is literally this Vigar, and at the same time, it's not going to be pretty if Vigar is not able to position perfectly because if he makes one mistake, he will be threatened by any number of people, whether it's the Olaf running in, it's a shuffle by Azir, Vi ulting, or just Ziri just running in.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of ways of being able, much like you said, to be able to get onto this Veigar, and he's going to be very careful with that positioning. We haven't seen a lot of Rumble, like, effects so far. I mean, we've seen one Rumble ult. I mean, a lot of the early game power, a lot of the reasons why Rumble is picked is because of that early game aggression, the early game damage. So at this point, not really there. This Rumble has really been a moot point. I think this Rumble was, like, arguably the worst pick possible with the way that it was played and just the negative pressure that was applied by his damage. But we'll see what happens later. He is sitting on the Lost Chapter, sitting on trying to build up towards that. I'm assuming to be the Leandries, or maybe, not too sure. I'm assuming Leandries. I guess it could be that other one. I always forget the. Oh, I'm not gonna remember. Whatever the red one is, the old haste. It really could be that still, just because of support build. It's pretty cheap. Here comes the cease and desist. Gonna land on here. Cage unavailable. That is gonna be the ultimate drop by Rumble, but it won't be enough. Kaiser Cool is able to pick this up. Anarchist is here as well, picking up that blue buff. Shuffle coming through. AliXO gonna be locked into that. Gonna be forced to flat. Spicy Tuna dangerously low. Jungle for DZG. Gonna be able to get away there. That is still gonna be the Zac passive gonna be used here. Just a few more seconds for the Zac to be able to get in. AliXO trying to pop it off. Double kill here, picked up by Castro. One more of Castro's live. That's DZG picking up 4 kills, 4 for 0. DZG looking real good, extending that lead to 5,000 and picking up almost an ace on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, and we should see a fight again shortly, so it's going to be interesting to see with everyone without their ult except Vigar, do they still want to fight at the Dragon? I mean, it is Cloud, I believe. Is it Cloud? No, we already saw Cloud.
No, we already saw Cloud. Hextech.
Hextech then. I mean, Hextech really works for both teams, but I feel like it works better with the Ziri, with the Azir, especially with the attack speed. So I honestly see it as benefiting DZG. Just the fate kind of saying, hey, here's a little buff. This will help you guys out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, essentially, you're getting a static shiv, you're getting better wave clear, more attack speed on 2 champions that really want it. 3 if you count Olaf. He's pretty happy with that added attack speed as well. And, I mean, speaking of attack speed and speaking of Olaf, Canny and Shaktas are trading blows once again. Ragnarok is available. Ghost going to be popped here. The subject going to be used. Canny still has access to that ultimate should he want to use it. Is going to be forced to use it now, trying to hold out on not using it. Unfortunately, the Shaktas is be able to do enough damage. It looks like the DZG Rift Herald was used and maybe boarded by one of the members and maybe crashed into the wrong area because it didn't even charge. So, unfortunate use of that Rift Herald there. Canny still going to be stuck in the top lane, does have access to TP, and Ghost is trying to heal up, but he's going pretty low here, just trying to match up to Shaktas' pressure as he just is becoming this monster that is Trundle. Just being able to outsustain this Olaf for now, especially with the completed Ravenous Hydra on him. That's going to be a Vault Breaker. AliXO going to be able to buffer through that with the Urgot Dash. Zeta is also here, trying to just kind of survive. Going to be using that extra charge of that Phoenix Dance to be able to go around. Kaiser Coolness looking for something. Cage going to be there. Is going to get stuck out there. AliXO taking the portal, though, so it's something to keep in mind for DZG. Teleport going to be coming through. Canny is back to full health, but is going to have to give up that top lane tier 2 turret. And Trundle is no slouch at taking this, so that is going to go by very quickly. Oh, a recall already coming out by Canny here. Trying to bait out or trying to kind of fake out the fact that he's still around. That's going to be the ultimate's going to be used here. Knock up there. Zeri ulti as well. And Zeri's just free hitting. A fantastic shuffle by DZG. Anarchist there. Faulty going to go down as well. That's going to be 2 kills picked up by Castro. 1 kill picked up by Anarchist. Canny looking to chase down, but so far so much. Trundle's going to be able to pick up that tier 2 turret up there. Canny just running down Spicy Tuna. Does not matter. That's going to be a 4 for 0 once again for DZG. Extending that gold lead now to about 5,500. They're going to be able to pick up this tier 1 turret, and all that Trundle was able to do was actually only take the tier 2 turret. It looks like the attack speed was just not there for Trundle just yet.
Yeah, I mean, he fully built his Hydra, and it looks like he's going for a Trinity Force. He's just going a really expensive build for being behind, and so I'm not really quite sure what his intention is. But it's definitely slowing down his ability to split push. And unfortunately, they also did not manage to get any of the Void Mites, so they don't have that additional pressure either. So right now, their only real thing is to try to get this Trundle to do a split push because it looks like it's working. This Trundle is catching out Olaf and managed to win the 1v1s, but at the same time, he's not able to kind of take down turrets like you've seen previously Trundles take down. So I'm not quite sure if his build is what you exactly want from a Trundle, but at the same time, it looks like they're going for a pick in top lane.
Yeah, Canny overextending just a little bit here. Doesn't have access to those turrets. Doesn't have Flash, Ghost, nor TP available here. Does have Ragnarok coming back up, so he could use it to get away. Castro's here as well, though. This could be a bait by DZG here. Canny is still getting chunked down here. Does still have access to Ragnarok. That's going to be the last Link shot to deter Final Boss Esports from continuing the chase. And Canny, great trigger discipline here. Not popping the ulti. Not feeling too distressed here. Is able to walk away from that, what could have potentially been a very good pickup. During that, we also did see, after the Trundle recall, we saw 2 turrets taken by DZG. Their gold lead now almost 7,000 gold. So this is still really good. They do still have to worry about the scaling threats that are the Veigar. Well, specifically the Veigar. So it is something to still keep in mind, but DZG looking real good. Looking to kind of continue this, trying to get this game going as fast as they can. Zeta could get caught out here. Vault Breaker's going to be there. That's going to be the last Link shot as well. One more out of, perfect placement of that blue buff, and Zeta will be going down. Castro going unstoppable. Gonna be able to pick up that kill. Jungle down. That means one thing and one thing only. That's a free Baron for DZG. The Shactus is here, though. It looks like Final Boss Esports may look to give this up, trying to just create some pressure up in the mid lane, but here comes Anarchist as well to respond to that. Shactus going to be going back up the top. It does look like AliXO is going to be left up in this bot lane to potentially pick up this turret. Teleport is available by Anarchist here, should he want to respond to that bot lane standing gold and not give over the bounty, but it looks like DZG is going to opt to hold that teleport, pick up this Baron, and no, actually that is going to be the teleport usage, just waiting on that Baron to pop up, and Anarchist is going to be able to save that turret and not give up that standing gold. DZG increases their gold lead now to just a little bit under 9,000 gold, so DZG looking really good right now.
Yeah, and because of the Veigar and Rumble, you kind of want to stay away from pushing that lane, so I do see a 1-3-1 hopefully coming out of DZG, just so you can kind of get that side. Oh, a little bit of a pause, but as I was saying, you want that kind of split lane, so that way you can create that pressure on all the lanes, and eventually that will allow you guys to kind of take down turrets, because the buffed minions will definitely start hitting those turrets, and all you have to do is stand there. While I feel like Azir is gonna get the strongest one, just because he's able to punish the Urgot, meanwhile the others can't.
Yeah, no, I agree. DZG's been playing immaculately this game. From the early game play onto the bot lane and being able to blow a flash and coming back for the repeat gank to pick up the first kill, to moving the pressure up in the top lane and helping a struggling Canny up there pick up 2 kills to sort of kind of even out the lane and make up for some of the damage that Trundle is doing, to that first big team fight in the jungle right before that second dragon, and being able to pick up just these skills and kind of blow the game open. And I mean, just in general, these DZG solo lanes have been doing a really good job making up for this early game power that we boasted about that Final Boss Esports wanted to have, as well as neutralizing this bot lane to a certain degree, because I mean, despite the Veigar, being the scaling threat, he is only at 105 CS, working just now on that second item, which is going to be a Zanya's. So it's a little bit of a nerfed Veigar here, not opting for that death cap second, as he just doesn't feel comfortable being able to do that with all the engage that DZG has. Really just trying to make up for it with some of that passive stacking, and opting likely for the death cap at the third item, if they can even make it that far, which if you're DZG, you really want to avoid that. You really don't want to let them get the Veigar to 3 items. You at this point want to look to make the most out of this bearing and potentially make one big play to end this game. There's a lot of standing gold available, a lot of these tier 2 turrets that need to be pressured. Now this is where DZG really needs to kind of come together and figure out how they can maximize this. And much like you mentioned, the way they're doing this is in a 1-3-1.
Yeah, and it's good that for Final Boss that they're kind of hovering this Urgot, because he's really unable to push anyone off.
Yeah, playing with fire, Castro is right here.
Yeah, but I really do like how the macro is going, but I really think that Final Boss just kind of, it failed at the draft. I feel like this was a really hard to team to kind of start, and it's not really the way you want to play these fights, and everything just seems to be going in a straightforward fashion for DZG's comp.
Yeah, I mean, even at this point, Final Boss seems very hesitant to pull triggers here. We saw AliXO looking for a flank here, but Kaiser was on that, being able to stop that. Ooh, the Ghost is going to be used here. The slow from the stretching strikes is there, but LAXO going to be able to walk away. But yeah, I mean, Final Boss seems not necessarily confused or lost. They just seem hesitant. They seem hesitant to pull triggers. They don't feel like they win these fights. And DZG is just kind of letting the Baron kind of do its thing. They're able to take that tier 2 turret in the mid lane. Not the strongest Baron power play, I would say, that we've ever seen, but it's at least something. It's a better than nothing kind of Baron play where you take a turret, you set yourselves up for a quick reset before this dragon, putting yourselves on the second dragon, or your second dragon, fourth of the game. But DZG really needs to start kind of picking up the pace just a little bit. It's getting a little scarier when you're kind of letting this game kind of go on, where you're spending that Baron just kind of walking around and trying to apply pressure, but not really getting that equal pressure that you need up in top, mid, and bot, and just really getting one turret in a dragon. It gets to the point where you're like, okay, like, how do we make this explosive? Like, how do we bait them into us? How do we pick up this fight to where we can crack an inhibitor and look for one more big fight and look to end the game? How do we throw our wallet at them, essentially? But speaking of throwing anything at each other, it's Canny and Shactus once again, just a quick trade up in the top lane. This dragon will be taken down by DZG. They're opting to still make the most out of this 1 second of Baron that they had left. Not enough, though. Anikus is still here, though. Good damage, though. 4 minions here. This could be enough here. The Void Mites are here as well. Kaiser Coolness sitting on the side lane here, or on the side, trying to maybe look for an engage, but AliXO just doing the best that she can to be able to clear this wave. Next wave here for DZG as well. Teleport is available for Canny here. Should a fight break out, is also available for the Shactus. There's no flank wards available for Final Boss Esports, but Castro is taking a good chunk of damage here, but is also Spicy Tuna eating a lot of damage. Faulty gonna land that Baneful Strike though as well. Gonna be able to deal a little bit more damage as DZG trying to wait for this turret, or trying to wait for this wave, trying to keep this pressure going. But with Canny not being able to apply that equal pressure in the top lane, it does get a little scary to try to play this 1-3-1, or I'm sorry, this 1-4. But Zeta's here as well, gonna kind of be able to throw that Phoenix Dance out, just looking for an engage here. That's a really good pick though. AliXO gonna miss the ultimate because of Castro's flash. Castro playing on the Knight's Edge here, gonna be able to pick up that kill. That's gonna be 3 kills, a triple kill, a quadra, no, just a triple for DZG. Wave is available in the mid lane. Looks like DZG is going to rotate over. Canny does have teleport. He should look to matches. Just go mid, DZG. Just go mid. You have a wave. This is what you should see. You should take that open inhibitor, and Canny's going to be able to clear up this wave and should be able to TP should he needs to. Trundle is here. It's going to be another 15 seconds. 13 for Zeta, 15 for Spicy Tuna to be able to join this, but it is looking to be a free inhibitor here for DZG as Canny continues to push this top lane. Andik is pushing this bot lane as well. It's going to allow DZG to rotate down. They're going to have to be a little careful, though, as Zeta is up. Spicy Tuna coming up shortly as well. They're going to greed for this inhibitor, too. That's 7 seconds left on the full team. No, DZG is going to be able to pull back and say, never mind. We do not want to be here, but that is still going to be an inhibitor, a tier 2 turrets in the bot lane, and a gold lead extension to almost 12, math is hard, 13,000 for DZG.
Yeah, it's finally DZG realizing that their wallet's bigger than final bosses and realizing they can throw down. But also I was looking at Udyr's build, and that Liandry is running into Azir. It's never gonna be pretty when you do it that way. He did go Frozen Heart, so I respect that, but I feel like right now you kind of need more beef, so I kind of feel like the Jack Show would have been a lot better. But it was weird because the Urgot kind of started the whole engage, and it was like they forgot that there was a Zac standing in the alleyway right next to them when that had just cleared a ward when they decided to engage, and they engaged into 4v4.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, one, it's almost like desperation. It's like, okay, we haven't been able to pull a trigger. We haven't stopped them from sieging. We're going to do it now. And it's just like, oh, crap, we forgot about the Zac on the side, right? And even more so, much like you mentioned with builds, it's almost like these builds are just not cohesive. Hold that thought, though. AliXO does have flash available. We'll be able to get away. I'm sorry, with the Ghost. Castro going to be able to walk away here. Shactus here. DZG playing a bit with fire. TP coming through for Canny here, though. Is going to get interrupted by Zeta here, but Canny's just going to be able to run Zeta down. If he would have popped the Ragnarok there, he wouldn't get pushed away, but he is still going to be able to chase him down. Ghost going to be used as well. Top fight, though. That's going to be a really good equalizer. Castro going to be using that ulti. AliXO is getting free hit here. That's still going to be free hitting by Castro. A quadra kill picked up by Castro, and that's surely the game for DZG here. Is they're going to go push towards that mid lane and pick up their first win of this 5-game series, or potentially 5-game series.
Yeah, this was exactly what we were hoping for DZG, that they would be able to pull off this team comp, and at the same time we warned Final Boss that team, that the comp for the draft that they had is not an easy one to pull off, and it shows.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to say it was a very ego draft by Final Boss. I mean, they are the first seed coming out of one of the Blue Water divisions. But I mean, hey, I mean, I guess it's game one. I guess you try things, try the things that you may have been trying in scrims, and you see if you can kind of just roll the team that is arguably, the weaker team in DZG. But I mean, DZG showing that they're no pushovers. They gave up 2 kills, and that's on Castro. And the other 4 members of DZG go perfect game essentially. And if you take a look at gold graphs, I mean, gold in general, every lane in DZG out golded or outpaced their counterpart, and it shows that DZG is not coming here to play. They're not trying to play something that they haven't played before. They have their try and true methods, and they are here to make this a quick series.
Yeah, I'm honestly hoping that we're gonna see a lot difference within mid, something that can be comparable because there was just nothing you can do by forcing the roams and just allowing the mid lane to scale because it just makes your late game that much harder when you aren't able to successfully dive in bot lane. Because I believe they did it twice. Granted, one time it did work because they caught Kaiser out and then they managed to kill Castro, but at the same time, when they tried it again the second time, all they ended up doing was giving Azir free gold.
Yeah. Yep. No, I mean, I agree. A lot of misplays, and hopefully, Final Boss can clean some of this up and give us a more exciting game number 2. But with that said, we're going to take a quick break as we get ready for our second game of this best of 5. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back with some more action of DZG Arcadia versus Final Boss Esports. Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 of Final Boss Esports versus DZG Arcadia. Final Boss taking the blue side after their very rough 22-2 loss versus DZG in game 1. Bans not changing too much so far. Zed Jarvan taken out. However, this third ban could be different as it's not in the same order. DZG banning out the Gragas so far. We'll see if it's a repeat of game number 2 so far. It is with that Skarner ban as well, as Final Boss does have access to this blue side, does have a couple of more fun picks available, but it is going to be the Vi removed instead of the Jinx. So Jinx might have to be removed by DZG, and they may have to leave open this Maokai that they banned away in game number 1.
I personally still feel like you just remove the Maokai just because Jinx is all about positioning. And if that Vigar can't position with the cage, the Jinx point isn't going to be able to position.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely valid. I mean Jinx is still a super strong champion. However, DZG does have access to Zeri, and they are going to follow your advice. They're going to get rid of Maokai. Jinx is going to be picked up. I'm expecting Zeri to be picked up here by DZG. It is the usual suspect for a pick in this matchup. Other picks that I guess could go well, you could just go Varus, I guess. You could go Caitlyn for the lane matchup. Smolder would be another option. I know it's making a bit of a comeback in comp, as it is something that in theory outscales the Jinx and can make up for it with the execute damage off of that 225 stack. But DG definitely taking their time trying to decide, and it is going to be the Zeri once again for Castro, who had a outstanding performance in game number 1. So I definitely don't see why not. Jinx is still maybe some more lockdown by DZG. The Zac could be picked up again once again, and potentially flags are just taken into support. But I normally expect a jungle here. I guess you could grab just a Zac and just kind of wait around and see what happens. Things like Wukong are available. Talia is also available, which is another really strong champion against a mispositioning or lack of positioning carry. But it is just going to be that Zac picked up by DCG.
Yeah, and I really like this Zac pick because you took out Vi, but Zac can still get onto Jinx, whether it's from jungle or support. And it kind of gives that threat of, well, it looks like they got the Poppy to try to stop that engage.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, right? It makes sense. Poppy is like the easiest champion to stop that Zac engage with that steadfast presence. So it is definitely a option here. And Braum also going to be picked up. Another way of stopping the Zac engage, specifically the Braum ulti, can stop it midair. However, Nautilus can also do the same with the hook, with a well-placed hook. It could actually stop the Zac engage, and it does give them a strong CC option into Zeri. This is a pretty standard, AD jungle support by Final Boss Esports. Not looking to play anything unconventional so far. DZG does have the option of picking mid here if they don't want to get something banned. The Azir did quite well and can actually do a lot, but no, it looks like DZG is going to pick up the Volibear and potentially flex it top jungle, along with the Zac could also potentially be flexed top and jungle and support.
Yeah, I think if the players could play all the champs, I feel like it would have been a good pick to have a Braum just because it kind of takes away the whole reason for Poppy being in that lane and being in bot lane. And that means that, if Nautilus goes in, that's free stuns coming around. So the volley is still really good, but I hope it's a top lane pick for in this situation just because AP volley has been really good. And I feel like the jungle, it's good, but it's not as good as top right now.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think Jungle Volibear definitely not as strong as it was a little earlier in the season. Azir going to be taken away by Final Boss Esports, not wanting to see Andicus on that again. Rumble going to be removed from DZG. I'm assuming it'll probably be another top lane. I mean, the Trundle is a little bit scary, especially if you want to play the Volibear, but instead, it looks like it is going to be the brand removed. Maybe expecting this Poppy to go top or support. Or not support, I guess, but top. But Olaf is going to be removed. Talia still left open. Fantastic pick here into the Nautilus, and it removes it as an option from Final Boss Esports to stop the charging Volibear, the Zac flying in, or even the Zeri dashes as well. And it's a strong pickup here for Andicus. Now it's up to Final Boss Esports to see what they want to pick up. LAXO does, favor things like Yone Yasuo a lot in this mid lane as well. Does play things like conventional mages as well. And it is actually going to be the Hui picked up. Hui, a very good pick into Talia. Doesn't really have to interact with her from too far away. Has very solid wave clear as well with that double cast on the Q. Has execute with the other cast of Q. And honestly, it's a very resourceful mid laner that doesn't innately have a dash and can play fairly well into the Talia range. Now we're going to see if this Poppy actually goes jungle or top. I'm expecting it to still stick in the jungle. Trundle is still a solid option here. I don't think it's a bad pick, but no, it'll be Jax. Something that could still have a pretty solid matchup into Volibear, as the Counter-Strike could, in theory, dodge out on a lot of damage. and we'll have to see what DZG wants to do here. I mean, I guess these honestly Malphite. Why not, bro? I want to see a Malphite. I think Malphite would be fantastic here. Like, it doesn't do bad in the Jax. It doesn't do bad in the Poppy. It could just literally run past all this and follow up on the dive. Mundo also not bad though. Essentially unkillable. It can also just essentially walk at Final Boss Esports. But I mean, yeah, I mean it's a solid draft from both teams. We're finally looking at something that is not unconventional like game number one. Both teams drafting fairly standard. Both have a hyper carry in the bot lane. They have some CC and peel in the jungle and support. They have their control mages mid and these bruisers slash mostly tank Mundo who can bruise with the Jax, but may not have a good time dealing with a future split push if Final Boss Esports gets the ability to just send this Jax on the opposite side of the map and eventually to the point where the Jax may be able to outdamage the Mundo or just ignore the Mundo altogether and just free hit this turret. But Mundo's really not a slouch into the Jax either. Doesn't necessarily have to interact with auto attacks with some well placed cleavers, and has that sustain that just allows DZG to kind of run at the enemy team. My only concern comes from DZG lacking damage. I think it's a little scary to just have Talia Zeri be your main sources of damage. Granted, the Volibear could go not fully tank. The Mundo obviously can still go Titanic, and that Heart Steel, and it still does a lot of damage. It is just concerning when Final Boss Esports does have 3 actual damage threats and they're 2 peeling tanks.
I definitely agree. But it's nice to see that Final Boss Esports kind of went for the more conventional draft compared to last game. So I definitely expect this draft to work a lot better for them. And I want to say that I think that they have they have the advantage in the situation.
Yeah, yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I mean, if I had to pick a team, I'm probably sticking with DZG. I mean, I mean, not even in bias way. I mean, the way that they played game number one, I mean, just showed strong control, strong communication, a very good use of resources. I mean, here they have similar resources, a lot of hard engage, a lot of CC is available to them. Granted, they have to get past Poppy and Nautilus, and that's can be a little hard to do. And they always have to worry about this Jack's potential flank for their 2 squishy carries. But if DZG can continue to position the way that they did and communicate the way that they did, I see no reason why they can't take the second game. However, Final Boss Esports is, again, we're going to kind of beat a dead horse on a conventional draft. They're playing their hyper carry ADC, where Jinx really just needs one reset off of a good amount of damage from the Hui or the Jax coming in, or the Poppy CC or the Nautilus CC, and she kind of comes online. Quay, definitely not a slouch in anything in any department, has a lot of damage built into his kit, has a strong wave clear, strong utility with fears, roots, speed ups, auto attack enhancements, shielding. I mean, this guy essentially does it all. And a strong Hui player makes use of that entire kit in the right situation. But again, it really is just dependent on can DZG keep this momentum going, or is Final Boss going to be able to just kind of pick up the pieces, playing a more conventional comp, and be able to kind of just get back into the groove of things. Yeah, but with that being said, it looks like we're having just some few delays here from from the teams. So we'll just throw it to a quick break, and we'll come back at the start of game number 2. So don't go away. We'll be back shortly with the second game of DZG Arcadia versus Final Boss Esports. Welcome back, everyone, to game number 2 of DZG Arcadia taking on Final Boss Esports in the quarterfinals of the Blue Otter Emerald League. DZG handed Final Boss a decisive 22-2 win in game number 1, and honestly, or I guess 22 to defeat because Final Boss Esports lost. Um, but I mean, DZG's trying to kind of keep that momentum going. They're trying to make this a quick series, trying to show why they are not a team that should be slept on. While on the other side, Final Boss Esports is probably trying to say it's just a fluke. We picked things that we wanted to play. Now we're playing for real, and we're going to show you why we're the best team in our division. So both teams having something to prove. Both teams trying to kind of pick up on this momentum, either pick it back up or keep it going. And I'm expecting a much more interesting game number 2 as Zeta gonna find DZG's jungler here, is gonna get that buckler shot, is gonna get auto, will be able to pick up the shield though. It does look like there's a bit of extra damage here. Counter-Strike gonna be used here. AliXO is here as well. Will not be able to land the spell here, won't be able to get the manifold proc, but we'll be able to get an auto onto Anarchus, and both teams are gonna just back off. However, it does seem like Final Boss Esports was able to get a ward and will know that DZG is starting on those Raptors.
Yeah, but I question if that was worth it for the laners themselves. It looks like Jax is going to have a really hard time top without some assistance from Poppy now, just because of the way that they've taken quite a amount of damage and continue to do so.
Yeah, a lot of damage here. Autos and cleavers here. Shaq just forced to just walk past the Mundo here to try to farm up. That's going to be another grass procced. Yep. By Canny here, just trying to trade aggressively onto this Jax. Making the most out of what you mentioned, the delay in getting to lane. The Poppy actually just now finishing her first camp, working on finishing that second. Meanwhile, Volibear up on DZG, working on that third camp already, so definitely pacing this Poppy quite well here. I'm taking advantage of that delayed invade. But I'm expecting just this kind of trade up in the top lane, just exactly what we kind of saw in game number 1. Just some autos, some spells, as both of these top laners definitely love to scrap up in this top lane. Meanwhile, DZG in bot lane, they're just kind of playing it very similar to game number 1, just kind of farming it up. Both ADCs really not wanting to do too much in this lane. Ooh, good shove back in CC here by Anarchus, hitting that level 2. That shield by AliXO a little late there, as it's not really going to provide much. Is going to eat a few more of those rocks there that are Rebeled Earth. And Anarchus definitely seemingly very comfortable in this matchup. AliXO eating a lot of unnecessary damage. Could be baiting out for this gank as the Poppy is on the bot side. Anarchus will get a ward. We'll see that those Raptors are taken, and we'll know that the Poppy, in theory, should be on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, and it looks like Canny's taking advantage of that early to try to get a push that so he can freeze the wave on his side and force Jax to kind of be overextended the entire time.
Ooh, hook and a land here onto Kaiser. Level 3 was dinged here by DZG. Both junglers on the bot side of the map. Poppy, though, a little bit closer. AliXO going to be taking a little bit of damage, but just like you said, Canny trying to keep this wave here, trying to force his Jax to play up. Counter-Strike will be there. Will not land, though. Canny not able to land his proc of his Mundo W-E, I don't remember. But that, little bit of shock paddle treatment not going to be enough. Recall going to be taken by Poppy, though, so it does mean the DGG unknowingly is continuing to play aggressively. AliXO taking a lot of damage here, is low on mana, will likely be forced to back here, does have teleport available to them, and will likely make use of it here. Anarchus trying to push this wave before Ali can get back, but Ali going to get stopped here, as DZG jungler is here to just prevent AliXO or delay the back and force AliXO for sure to teleport back to lane, but potentially miss a couple minions along the way.
Yeah, it's honestly a heads-up play by Volley to kind of just show up, not to really force a gank, but to just say, hey, I'm here. Do you really want to recall in front of my face, or do you want to wait a little bit? And obviously, it crashed and turret, and, there was some missed gold from that.
Yeah, a few minions were missed here. Oh, pardon my yawn. We're missed a bit. Oh, Canny taking a lot of damage, though. We'll be able to pick up the canister, though. A couple more autos are there as well. We'll be able to proc that gray health. One more auto should be enough. Shactus will be forced to jump away as Canny taking a unexpected trade there. Seemingly a little dangerous. Was able to heal up from that gray health and actually deal a bit of damage here to Shactus. Is sitting up at, well over 10 CS onto the Shactus. However, it does look like Kenny will take a quick base here. Does have teleport available to him. Will be able to match up with that teleport that Shactus, who just came back with a cull. So really going for this late game scaling Jax, or at least like mid to late game scaling Jax, opting to say, hey, you know what? You're probably going to have me on these early trades. I'm just going to look to farm up, get a little bit of extra gold, and really not worry too much. And I mean, this is where Mundo excels. He doesn't have to build damage. He can come back with that Giant's belt, and he's already going to be doing more damage because his abilities scale off of health. So not even worried there, and it's going to allow him actually, Candy's going to be able to hold that teleport, walk back to lane, and DZG is going to be able to pick up the first dragon of the game, knock back into land. Ooh, stun not there. A little bit of a delay there on Anarchus's stun availability there, but the Shactus is trying to crash this wave. Candy not too upset to hold this wave here, won't be able to stop it from crashing, but it will likely be able to pick up all of those minions, as I don't think Shactus will really be able to do much to stop that from happening.
Yeah, which really puts Poppy in an awkward spot because now Jax has to walk back to lane, but scrubs are up. So does Poppy really want to start this, and will she be found?
Yeah, and I mean, unless they have some information, I mean, it does look like DZG's jungler will not be in the area to stop this. However, Canny is walking through. We'll be able to drop a ward, so it looks like Poppy is potentially, yeah, she's going to be able to pick up these grubs. Not the best thing to give up for DZG here, as it is going to still benefit things like the Jack split push later on, or even the siege from the Jinx and the Hui, who in theory outrange some of DZG's carries. But it is still going to be a fairly expected trade of neutral objectives from both teams, as DZG was able to get that bot lane dragon. Level 5 ding for both bot laners. Kaiser Coolness definitely playing it cool to his namesake. Going to be able to pull back, deal a bit of damage there. The knockup is going to be there as well. Does have the passive available. Kaiser Coolness taking a lot of damage. Will be able to heal up from some of those blobs. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Canny going to be trading as well. Kaiser Coolness will be able to back off or back to the bot lane here, as Kaiser Coolness is trying his best to kind of heal up a little bit. Maybe took a little bit worse of a trade than he had hoped for. Shactus eating a lot of damage here from those Masochist stacks, or Masochist hits. DZG jungler might find himself in a bit of trouble here. We'll be able to dodge out on that zap from the Jinx. We'll be able to walk away, as without that, the hook is not guaranteed. Shactus going to miss the counter-strike here, as Canny is just trading up. That's going to be the Grandmaster ultimate, or I forget what it's called, to be used there. Shactus going to be forcing that ult. Cagney going to be using his ult as well, just landing these attacks, though. One more good knock. Yep, that's that minion pass-through for his E. Going to be able to hit that up and deal more damage. Going to continue to stay on this pressure is what Canny is doing. Will likely be able to start hitting this turret as well. Likely has Demolish available, or at least might have Demolish available to him. But yeah, Demolish is there, trying to pocket here. We'll be able to get it and pick up the first plate. And Shaq just going low again, and Kenny actually didn't even tank a turret shot from that cleaver. So Kenny definitely showing matchup knowledge and or comfortability here. However, Zeta is here. The Counter-Strike will miss again. Shaq is not able to get in range there. Zeta will eat a cleaver for his trouble. The Mundo passive will stop Zeta from being able to carry Mundo closer to that wall. And Kenny is just laughing all the way to the bank in that business suit Mundo, and is happily pushing this wave and continuing to take that lead up in the top lane.
Yeah, I feel like for Mundo, we're definitely going to see that hard steal just because Jax is continuously engaged. Oh,
ooh, good engage here. That's a flash stun as well. That's just a bunch of CC. AliExo not able to move. Fantastic setup. DZG picking up first blood. Anarchus picking that up for himself.
Yeah, and Hui could not even react. He had flashed the entire time and just did not even press a single button.
Yeah, I honestly think he might have just, or Ali might have just been CC the entire time. I think she didn't even get a chance to press it, or even if the opportunity was there, she probably thought, you know what, it's not even worth it. I'm dead. Might as well hold it for the next play. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely very well played here by DZG. A very good heads up, very good roaming. Kaiser Coolness showing his proficiency on this Zac and why it should be respected, and why maybe Final Boss Esports should have respected it after a very strong performance in game number 1. But so far, DZG pretty content with where the game's going. They're sitting at a little under 1,500 gold lead here in the first 9 minutes. Second Dragon going to be spawning up as well, as DZG's already playing towards it. Setting up vision. Very strong vision control here by DZG. 2 red wards in this river. The 1 deeper red or deeper yellow ward behind the enemy red buff. Definitely trying to take control of this river and setting themselves up for a potential play here. DZG also happy with where the lane is right now, at least for the next minute or so, as it does look like they're going to start pushing it in. Kenny's back up in the top lane, is able to pick up that next component for what I can only assume is Warmog? No, I'm sorry, Heartsteel. Heartsteel, of course, it's Heartsteel. But is pretty happy with what way this game is going. I mean, the wave is pushed into him again. Shactus is going to be forced to play up in order to be able to farm. Kenny's taking almost a 30 CS lead at this point. Shactus is getting some deep vision, though. Will not spot the volley bearers. The red buff is not up, and DZG's jungler is already walking his way back over to the bot side of the map. Likely going to be playing for this dragon. Both top laners have TP. However, Kenny pretty content just staying up there if he is able to, and I don't think Jax is going to be able to provide much for any kind of teleport play. Zeta is here, though, looking to maybe find something here. A little bit of an over-aggression. Not enough time here for DZG's jungler to get here. Kaiser Kunis will get CC'd here, will get knocked up. Passive is there, though. The ultimate was used on him as well. That means Caster's free hitting. Teleport coming through from Talia here. Way trying to match it here as well, but it is going to be... Oh, a good knockback here by Andicus, but it doesn't look like DZG's jungler was... It looks like DZG jungler got knocked back. That's what happened. DZG jungler's got knocked back. Candy, though, trading happily here. The Blunt Force Trauma coming through as well. Another Bone Saw gonna land here as well, just slowing Shactus to infinity here. Gonna miss that last Bone Saw there, but will be able to walk this wave in and will likely set himself up for another plate. That's another Bone Saw landed. That's going to be Demolish available. Canny looking to play safely here. Does have his passive back up. Won't get CC'd available, and DZG is going to be able to pick up the second dragon of the game. Super Mega Death Rocket going to go wide. DZG taking a almost 2,000 gold lead. Second dragon, setting themselves up potentially for this next grub play. It does look like Kaiser's setting up some deep vision, but DZG, not wanting to give these grubbies up without a fight, is going to look to start contesting this. Mundo is here, able to rotate over. That's only 3. That's actually 4. So that's really all that Final Boss Esports needs. They have access to the Touch of Void. They don't even have to worry about the other ones. And rightfully so, we'll just back off and give these last 2 mites, or these last 2 grubbies over to DZG.
Yeah, honestly, it was a really good heads-up play for Poppy to kind of take the grubs, get exactly what they needed, and just leave. Unfortunately, it does look like DZG has the max...
Ooh. Wait, one more auto's enough. Oh, Shaq just flashed, but the Blunt Force Trauma actually tracks despite of that and is able to actually kill despite that. Good knockback here by Andicus, is able to just kind of walk away from that wall strike. That's an engage here. That's the stretching strike, barely misses. Kaiser doesn't have his passive available. That is going to be a reset here. A little bit of over-aggression here. Good flash. Castro going to be able to E away over the wall, but that's a little bit of an over-aggression here by DZG's bot lane. CC going to land. AliExo going to be forced to flash from the Andicus knockback from that Talia. But, you know, looking real good up until it isn't, as DZG gives up the first kill of the game over to Jinx.
Yeah, and you really don't want the Jinx to kind of get that lead, but at the same time, it does look like Jinx is going the more conventional build instead of Static Shiv. So I feel like it's gonna hamper her ability to do damage early, but at the same time, her autos are gonna hurt a little bit more if she can get that Kraken hit.
Yeah, I mean, much like you said, you don't want to give Jinx any kind of early leads. I mean, essentially the bot lane was being played immaculately up until that point. Teleport coming through, though. Canny does have that hard steal. Those Blunt Force Traumas or those Bone Saws really doing a lot of damage. Alexo doesn't have flash available. Stun gonna land. Kaiser gonna be able to pull back. The Thundering Strike is still gonna land there. One more auto will be enough. That bite. DZG's jungler getting another, or his first kill of the game, but another kill onto AliExo, taking advantage of that flash that was just burned. Kenny up in the top lane, just being the menace that he is, sitting at 30 CS over Shactus here, is looking to pick up this first turret as he does still have the Demolish available. Shactus really just doing his best to live here. Kaiser Coolness taking a trip around the world here as he is up in the top lane. Will show off of that, so he will show that he is here, but will create enough pressure for Kenny to hopefully be able to pick up this turret and set themselves up for a little bit more gold here, as DG is going to likely extend its gold lead to about 3,000 here with the pickup of that first turret, just a little under 3,000. However, it does open up a really long lane for Shactus here, should he want to create a freeze. Shactus is going to show here, Elastic Slingshot is available, will land there. That's going to be the Counter-Strike available as well here. Shactus doesn't have flash available either. One more auto will be enough. Canny does not care. We'll be able to pick up with the Bones Up Emil on the bot lane. That's a lot of CC. Castro will be taken down as Kaiser's roams will not pay off for his ADC. We'll be forcing them to go down. Andicus will get rooted down, will get knocked in. Zeta trying to create as much space as possible. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to land here. Oh, the knockback not there either, but Andicus is going to play it off and take a kill there. That's a 1-for-1 in the bot lane, but it's still a kill up in the top lane. So 2-for-1 overall for DZG as they extend their gold lead now. Again, just a little under 3,000, maybe not extended, but are able to kind of keep that going and at least trade 1-for-1 in that bot lane.
Yeah, and it looks like we're about to get another Hextech Soul, but this time DZG has 2 Drakes, so if they continue with the path that they keep showing for every Drake, it looks like it's going to be in favor of DZG again if the game continues at this pace.
Yeah, and I mean DZG is pretty happy with the way of this game's going. DZG's jungler is able to pick up the Rift Herald, so that is going to be 2 dragons and a Rift Herald picked up, along with 2 mites here. AliXO doesn't have flash available still. That's still going to be CC available here. That's going to be the knockback, taking a bite, and Ass Clapper going to be able to pick that up with that Thundering Strike, or blow, or lightning strike, whatever you want to call it, is going to be able to take that kill. 2 for 0 for him. DZG now properly taking that 3,500 gold lead. Zeta taking a lot of damage. Kaiser Coolness is sitting around thinking about it. Zeta will likely have access to that Steadfast Presence to block off the jump. Will think twice about doing it, but Andicus is doing quite well for himself, being able to push this lane. However, first turret in the bot lane going to be taken down by Final Boss Esports. Will be able to reduce that lead once again to just a fair 3k. However, Andicus is applying enough pressure here with the Herald Summon behind. Will likely be able to take that down as well. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. DZG setting themselves up for this third dragon here. Kaiser just asserting dominance as the blob man that he is. Just applying some vision control here. Does still have 2 more wards, but DZG will likely be able to take this pretty easily. Teleport not available for Canny, though. That is something to note. Shactus does have it available, so DZG needs to be a little careful. Might want to delay the start of this so that their main damage here, but Mundo can get here pretty quick. He does have access to those gates. Scuttle Crab will be taken by DZG. Zeta is actually kind of in a bad spot here. Will get slowed down. Volibear is there as well, trying to pick up the pace here. Won't be able to do it. The traps will be dropped, but DZG will be able to turn onto this dragon as Final Boss Esports doesn't have the wave to be able to push this mid lane. However, Shactus is going to get some time up alone in that top lane. I'm expecting Andicus to teleport up there and stop this push or this turret from potentially be taken down, as Canny won't have teleport available just yet. But for the time being, they're saying, you know what, we got this dragon, not to worry. We're going to actually zone off the Jinx here and try to catch her out here. Good slow here, knockback, forcing the flash. Keeper's Verdict going to be there as well. Going to actually miss. Zeta might potentially get run down here. Shactus is still up in the top lane. Zeta will be let go. They're pinging up for Shactus as Canny makes his way up there with a Ghost Pop, trying to stop Shactus from getting any more. And actually doesn't look like Shactus is going to be able to get much, as a very good set of plays here from DZG. Canny, ooh, Canny's still going to be able to stop it. 1 auto, he still stops it. Shactus is actually on the run. DZG Volibear coming here as well. Zeta is there as well. Kaiser Coolness will be able to come in with that Elastic Slingshot. Will be stopped by that keeper, by that Steadfast Presence though. Faulty here. The ultimate, or the passive is available here. Kaiser Coolness trying to heal up. Shactus trying to get a reset here for Jinx. Going to force the flash out by Kaiser Coolness. Zap going to land onto Canny here. The CC immunity is going to drop here. Canny has a big shut, or actually doesn't have a shutdown. He doesn't, but it's still a pretty solid kill. They can pick it up, and Canny will likely go down here with 1 more auto. The ultimate here, but that's going to be the Mundo ultimate as well, keeping him alive here. That's a massive knockup here by Kaiser Coolness. Castro's here as well, going to be able to pop the ultimate. 1 more auto will be enough to take down Zeta. Zeta popping that ghost, going to be able to run away, but Spicy Tuna will pay the price, as that is DZG picking up 3 for 0 when it looked like Canny was going to have to give his life over for some of the overextension, but it does not matter. DZG just looking real good here, as they're going to be able to start up. Well, actually, there is no neutral objective, but it looks like Andicus will likely be able to pick up a good chunk, if not all of that bot lane turret. But DZG extending that gold lead to just a little under 6,000 gold, and this game is kind of getting out of hand. It's looking like a repeat of game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly a great play, and the fact that Mundo survived that is wild to me, but at the same time, there is no heal cut from anyone on the other team, and it's wild to me because Jinx literally has Zac in her lane and did not even manage to buy an Executor's Blade for someone that's literally dealing with someone healing.
Bro, it's the greed of every ADC. It's the greed of every ADC. I think you just spend time hearing, I just can't afford that. I can't divert my build from it. You want me to just not have my second item sooner, but sometimes you need to, especially with the game that it's going right here. I mean, in theory, Hui could also pick up the Oblivion Orb. He could still apply it with a lot of his spells, so I guess you could expect it there. But yeah, I mean, X-Blade would at least, would have probably allowed for that kill in the top lane with how low he was, Canny was. I mean, that was a lot of healing when that Mundo ultimate popped. That was a lot of healing that came up, and you would hope that with some of that healing reduction, it would have been enough to kind of slow down, or maybe allow that Hui ultimate to be able to pick up the kill. However, DZG, Canny knew what he was doing. He knew what was going on. Kaiser Coolness will spot out Spicy Tuna here. Doesn't have a way of getting those stretching strikes to work. However, he will be able to back away. Is just being the menace that Kaiser is on this Zac. It's just disgusting. He is just standing there saying, you're not getting any vision here. If you really try to do anything, I'm just going to pull you into my team, or I'm going to knock you up. He is just this constant threat. And it shows why Zac, I believe, is one of the most banned champions against DZG, along with Zed. Definitely one of those big ones, too. But I mean, he is very comfortable in this champion, and I would expect something to change here. Is Spicy Tuna going to be walking in? Will not be able to follow up though. DZG kind of a little bit scared to pull the trigger here. Anarchist is on the reset, does have teleport available, but it looks like DZG is trying to bait them to come in here, trying to bait Final Boss to come in and check the Baron here. Mid lane prio is being got by DZG. Canny is leading the charge here, trying to provide some damage. Hui not able to land that double cast of Q. I'm definitely not going to know any of those names. There's like 12 names for that. No, I mean, there's like 9 different abilities in an ultimate. I'm not going to know any of those. So, I mean, yeah, DZG looking good. I'm just talking to talk. I mean, there's just time to fill. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with the way DZG is doing right now. You don't need to force a fight right now. Your team arguably scales just as well as Final Boss, so no need to force anything. Just set up this vision dominance, eventually bait out the Baron, which is exactly what DZG is doing by clearing up all this vision, and eventually it looks like Final Boss Esports will play into their hand. Zeri could get stopped here, should she stay kind of that aggressive, but it won't matter. Canny is just tanking up the turret, proccing up that damage. That's just one Blood Force trauma to finish up what looks to be like a 5th or a 6th of that turret. And that's another dragon that's standing gold, or turret that's standing gold being taken. 6,300 gold lead here for DZG. I mean, it's looking good.
Yeah, and I feel like it's another build path where the ADC is going super expensive and really is delaying her power spike. I feel like nowadays you want to have that static shiv for Jinx as a first item just because attack speed is huge for her. If she can have it, she can kind of clear waves a lot quicker. But going Kraken into a Zeri, into a Zac, you're not gonna kill anyone with those. It's your attack speed is just missing there. So I feel like you could have gone static shiv, maybe the executioner just because you're dealing with a Zac, and then go Kraken. But with right now with her build going the Kraken, then IE, she has no attack speed.
Yeah, and hold that thought as they are going to break up into a fight here. DZG doing a lot of damage. Keeper's Verdict going to be there. How many is it going to hit? It's actually only going to hit none. DZG Jungler able to buffer that out. Spicy Tuna going dangerously low here. Anakin is just free hitting here. So is Castro. Zeta going dangerously low here. Canny's just in the backline being a menace. Kaiser Kuhn is going to get that through. That's still going to be a kill picked up. That's 2. Shaktis looking real good here though. He's going to get slowed down. Canny trying to chase down. Castro's there as well. He now won't be able to stop that portal from being taken. Shaktis, though, is there. He's trying to play onto Castro, trying to play onto Kaiser Coolness. The slow could land if the stretching strikes can. That's still going to be a ward hop there from Shaktis. Candy, though, looking to run him down. The counter-strike won't be able to CC him as he does have that passive, and that's going to be an ace. A delayed ace, nonetheless, from DZG as they're able to pick up 5 kills. We'll give up 2 in the process, but we'll be able to pick up this soul, this Hextech Dragon Soul, and extend their lead to 7,000 gold.
Yeah, it was a great Jinx's ult. It was a great play by Final Boss to try to initiate that, but then there were just some missing key parts that should have landed. Poppy's ult unfortunately did not hit anyone significant, and it ended up not really doing anything that you really needed it to, and essentially broke the fight. And then you had Mundo just in your back line, just beating the crap out of a person. And although Shaktis did well in getting Andy to finish, I feel like he just missed an opportunity to just get away. And honestly, it was a great turnout for DZG in that fight.
Yeah, it's absolutely what you wanted to see. Ooh, AliXO does not have flash available. Teleport coming through, but do you really want to do it to save her here? I mean, Canny is just going to run down Ali. Not going to be enough. The Blood Force trauma could be there. That's still going to be the CC available. It doesn't have access to that passive just yet. That's still going to be a lot of damage popped out. Shaq just trying to pick up this bounty here. The ultimate is available for Canny should he want to use it. Does have the CC resistance once more. Will be able to pop that ultimate. Will be able to go essentially invincible. Does still have the passive. Chooses to walk away. He's going to get slowed. That's AliXO eating another bone saw though. The passive is there. He's going to be able to pick it back up. Canny's just walking them down as DZG's fighting 3v4 or 4v3 up in the top lane. Anarchist, though, taking dangerously low up top there. Zeta, the entirety of their team actually pretty healthy here. That's the Steadfast Presence going to be there. Keeper's Verdict going to knock back Volibear, but Anarchist and Castro are free hitting here. Zeta, not long for this world either. Just a few more autos is what's going to take it here. Castro trying to find her. There it is. Kaiser Coolness supportal combat here as he is going to be able to pull him back. The Elastic Slingshot will likely be enough, and it will. And that's going to be 3-0 for DZG as it looks like the bot half of the map, AliXO and Shaktis were able to get away from Canny, but Canny hasn't stopped yet. He's the menace. He continues to just run this wave down as DZG is going to be able to pick up this Baron and extend this gold lead to well over 10,000 as soon as they pick this up. There it is, 10,000 gold lead plus for DZG.
Yeah, and kind of like I mentioned, that Jinx's positioning, she was standing right on top with the Poppy and I believe the Nautilus, so there was no separation, so she could not kite any further. Now, Poppy did a great job in using her to block the jump from Zach, but he was already over the wall and well within range, and then Jinx would just had no space to kind of position.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, what else can I really say other than yeah? I mean, that hits the nail on the head. I mean, you talked about it. You talked about it in game one, and I'm sorry, in the draft for game number two. Positioning is very important, and it's something that we didn't see from Faulty on the Veigar. And you were like, you know what, we may not. It may not matter too much that Jinx has picked up here because it may not matter if he can't position. And so far, it's showing to be true. I mean, Jinx is just not able to position well enough in these fights, whether it's because of DZG's overwhelming engage and overwhelming tankiness, just walking at them, or if it's just the inability to kind of position behind the tanks and just providing themselves at a disadvantage here, just like this. Just positioning way too far ahead, and it's just immediately going to be taken down by Castro here. Not enough minions for DZG to continue this siege, however, they are coming, though, and they do have Baron available still for at least another minute and a half here. Candy up in the top lane, playing an extraordinary 1-4 here, especially after catching out that Jinx, and it's likely to be 2 inhibitors. Shaktis, one more auto is going to be enough. It does not matter. Candy is going unstoppable, 5-0 and 6, just walking Shaktis down as DZG is going to take this inhibitor. And this is likely going to be game unless DZG doesn't want to end this game just yet. Turn number 1, Keeper's Verdict going to be there, though, is going to hit back Kaiser Coolness here. Castro's free hitting at Anarchist there as well. Ass Clapper taking a lot of damage. That's Hysterics Gate's going to be popped as well. Candy's here, though. He's brought the wave. Oh, Castro's going to be rooted up, though. Will be taken down from that turret. The Super Mega Death Rocket not going to be there. That's going to be another knock-up. From bad to worse, as Falte just walks into DZG, and DZG is going to be able to pick up their second game in another convincing fashion. 2 minutes sooner, 22-5. Only 3 more kills picked up by Final Boss Esports, but it was essentially a repeat of game number 1 with, even given a conventional comp, DZG is looking unstoppable.
Yeah, I do want to note that with the ADC's positioning, there were problems, but also I felt like Poppy had no presence. Essentially, great, you got 4 grubs, but what gank did you have that was successful? I didn't see them actually do anything for their team. They might as well be playing Karthus and wait for a late game because I didn't essentially see them do anything that would have helped them. Whereas you saw the volley, show up to slow down Hui's back. You saw him show up in bot lane and take the Krugs because of the fact that Poppy was working on the grubs earlier. So like there were things that Volley did that influenced the lanes, whereas I felt like Poppy just didn't exist. It was kind of like they were AFK farming, and if you look at their KDA, it kind of shows it. Everyone else died 5 times, and somehow the Poppy, despite everything, only died twice.
Yeah, I mean, not much can be said out of that game other than the fact that I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it just kind of Final Boss looked like a non-factor. It doesn't look like they can get anything going, despite the weight being punished so much. He dealt the most, or she dealt the most damage. AliXO on the way at 18,000 damage. So definitely the second most damage in the game. Because I mean, nothing tops Mr. Mundo up in the top lane. But yeah, I mean, Final Boss looks a little lost here, and DZG, I mean, on the verge of a clean 3-0, is looking to wrap this up in a convincing fashion. But with that said, we're going to go to a quick break as we get ready for this third and potential final game in this best of 5 series. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back with DZG Arcadia versus Final Boss Esports in the Blue Water Emerald League. Welcome back, everybody, to Game 3 of DZG Arcadia taking on Final Boss Esports. The potential third and final game, as DZG has been looking immaculate, taking a convincing first two games in a very similar fashion. And Final Boss Esports really trying to find their stride, trying to figure out what to do here as... I mean, they're back on the red side. Bans are kind of shifting back a bit. They're finally respecting that Zac ban from Kaiser Coolness. And DZG going back to game plan. Getting rid of Gragas, Maokai Skarner, same as the last two games. Final Boss Esports going to have to try to decide if they want to ban out the Azir, which they did instead of the Vi. So Vi is available, but you know what else is still available? Zeri. However, you know what is available in return? Vi. So I'm kind of expecting Final Boss to pick up Vi here. That's what I'm expecting them to leave that open. But we're going to have to see what they decide. I mean, this is 3 Zeri games in a row. They need to find an answer for Castro, who's been playing out of his mind this game, or the series.
Yeah, and the quick, easy escapes that she's been able to have has been working in favor. I mean, there's a Twitch.
Twitch Braum, but you know what's open that Braum really can't stop? Vi. And I mean, yes, Twitch does have an invisibility, but I mean, that only lasts so long. And I mean, if they can find the Twitch on that off moment where he's just with the team and not invis, I mean, I think Vi's fantastic here. I would pick Vi. I would go Nautilus and just say, let's just not have you move. Even if you pick away the Zac, we're just not going to let you move. But I'm not drafting for DZG here. But that's what I would pick here. It is J4 though. J4 was left open by Final Boss Esports. It was banned away in the first two games. And it is still going to be picked up here. Arguably one of the better champions, especially into two kind of sort of immobile champions. I mean, Braum can stand beside me or stand behind me out of the Cataclysm to someone, but Twitch, aside from Flash, doesn't really have a way out of that. I still would like Nautilus here. I think it's the best pickup. I mean, no. Lulu. Okay. I mean, on paper, this if played perfectly, if both players are equal skill, this is like an unplayable matchup for Braum. So you know what? Why not? This still works.
It looks like Karn heard your nose. The Yumi. He might have been teasing Kaiser Coolness with it, just because first you get a tank and then you get to sit on your ADC. But fortunately for Castro, they gave a Zeri. Looks like we had Karthus. Did they hear me talk too much about him AFK farming and said,
I guess I go with the king of AFK farming himself, Karthus here. I mean, it's a little scary though, to be honest, for DZG here, because I mean you have the spray and pray available for Twitch, who can play outside of Zeri Lulu range, and if played correctly, can kind of delay this Jarvan from getting in. And Karthus can really start any fight with just that ultimate, and just really immediately start the fight. With a good chunk of damage missing, or potentially end a fight with that ultimate. He doesn't mind being stuck in Cataclysm, even if he is immobile. It's one of those champions like, yeah, you're trapped in. I'm trapped in here with you. No, you're trapped in here with me. But we're gonna have to see what Final Boss Esports wants to do here. That's 4 bans towards Anakus here. Zed, Azir, Talia, and Galio taken away here from Final Boss Esports. I'm expecting mid lane to get a counter pick here. I mean, so far they haven't been able to give a counter pick. Well, I guess in second game they did. I mean, they picked up Talia and they were able to respond with Wei. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing to happen again here. Except, I mean, I think AliXO is one of the, I don't want to say one of the better players because I don't know enough about Final Boss Esports, but this is definitely not the same performances we've seen from Final Boss Esports throughout the season. AliXO usually looking real good, just has not been able to kind of pick up the pace or pick up the groove, I guess, of what you want to see. DZG getting rid of some mega tanks here, like the Set and the Ornn, maybe setting themselves up for the Mundo, maybe setting themselves up for something like an Ornn or something like a Malphite, or just something in general that can be massive, maybe even a Mordekaiser. I think Mordekaiser might not be too bad here. They do have the option to, okay, it's going to be Tristana mid, so they're actually giving Shaktus the counter here, which I don't think has happened any of the games. No, he got the Trundle.
First game was a Trundle on the last pick.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. I mean, I don't think you take a mage into this. I mean, this kind of just opens up Anakus to play something like the Yasuo or the Yone in the mid lane, or Aurelia maybe into this, and just opens up the AP Mordekaiser maybe in the top lane. But it is actually going to be a Rumble picked up. Not a bad pickup here, along with the Cataclysm, and just overall a strong lane bully that it seems to be canny special. We're just going to have to see, I'm assuming, what kind of AD pick here you would want to pick into the Tristana. I guess Jace is available. I don't think you play Jace though. like into this?
I don't think Jace would work just because essentially you've got 3 squishies if the
That's
Jace,
true.
but we have Yasuo just like you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Yasuo Jarvan combo definitely pretty gross. Knock up into Yasuo Final Breath or Last Breath or whatever it is. And I mean, they have a big like AOE kind of combo here. Rumble, Yasuo ult, Jarvan ult, Zeri ult, and Lulu kind of just pump up the Zeri and just kind of let her go wild. Shactus does get a counter here into this Rumble. Really could be anything that he wants to play into this. Something that could be maybe just a lane bully. Um, I have no clue what you picked, but he's gonna run it back with the Jax. I mean, Jack's not a terrible matchup into Rumble. Granted, the Counter Strike doesn't really do anything for him, as Rumble doesn't really care about the auto attacks too much until he's overheated. Um, I want to say that the Jax matchup isn't a winning matchup versus Rumble. Like, I want to say this just has to be comfort from Shactus. I mean, but I may not be right. I mean, I don't play top lane nearly enough to actually know.
No, I actually do think you're accurate in that it's more of a I do think it's favored in Rumble, but I feel like it might also be a skill matchup in the sense that if Jax knows, hey, if he's overheated, I need to stay away, but also at the same time, if Rumble needs to know when to overheat, I feel like that will also affect the top lane fight. But I'm honestly with the short range that we're seeing from DZG, I am hoping that they do not dance on Karthus's dead body while he's still around.
That's a very valid point, and that is something that most teams may not be. I mean, teams should be like aware or should be savvy to, or should be just kind of just in general placement or positioning is important here. Like you said, to not deal with the card that's just free hitting and then eventually casting that ulti. But I mean, an interesting comp once again by Final Boss Esports. Definitely not your most traditional comp, but definitely not as crazy as Game One's kind of comp. But it's a double ADC comp, which is going to definitely favor having some of those voidlings available or those grubbies available to them. But DZG, I mean, they have a fairly, I think it's easier to execute comp. They have multiple engage options with the Jarvan, with the Rumble. They have a lot of AoE damage with the Rumble, the Jarvan again, the Yasuo, the Zeri ults. It's like it's a very cohesive unit of when we go in, we all go in together, and it is just this death ball of damage where Final Boss Esports does have this double AD carry comp, does have a split push threat, really just the Braum to stop any kind of engage from happening, but they once again have a late game security policy or like insurance in the form of this Karthus, who, if left to AFK farm like we saw in game number 2, will really will actually pay off as opposed to on this Poppy who really couldn't find a gank and just kind of was farming it up. Karthus doesn't really need a gank. It'll be better to get him faster to those items, like that Malignance or the Leandry's, getting him faster and faster into those items. But if he's just AFK farming, I mean, eventually it's just a Karthus who could press R in any good fight and really make a difference.
Yeah, and it looks like it was another adaptation by Final Boss Esports to have a late insurance threat in the jungle where before in both games, well, technically all 3 games, they have that late game insurance in their ADC role, but this time they added another one inside Karthus. So hopefully this pans out better for them, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of dangerous to run such a squishy comp. So if DZG happens to get ahead, we may see them run away with game 3 just like they have with game 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I mean, like you said, it's a lot of squishies. Yes, Jax is a bruiser. Yes, Braum is off tank with being the support. But aside from that, it's a lot of bruisers that just need to get cut out. And Tristana does have a way of getting out of the ultimate with both the rocket jump as well as the Buster shot to push people out of the Cataclysm. Jax can obviously get out, but you still have Karthus and Twitch who really can't get out. And it's just one big. I think it's just one good team fight, especially once you get to that first item, maybe second item on some of these champions for DZG, and just one good team fight. I think opens the game wide open, where um, Final Boss Esports really needs things to go well. They need to not int away any kind of early game. They need to allow this Karthus to be able to farm up and become relevant, and not let the game kind of devolve into just madness early on, like DZG has been doing. They won the first game in 28 minutes, won the second game in 26. They've just been finishing this game faster than you would hope, and Karthus isn't normally online at 26 minutes. It takes maybe a little bit longer unless he gets really ahead. So DZG just has to kind of run it back the same way they've been doing, and they seem fairly comfortable with what they're picking. But with that being said, we're going to take it to a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with game number 3 and a potential final game for DZG Arcadia as they are taking on Final Boss Esports in the Blue Water Emerald League. Welcome back, everybody, to Game 3 of DZG Arcadia versus Final Boss Esports. Let's just get right into it. Is Final Boss looking for this quick invade? Castro's here, though. He hasn't dropped a ward. He's kind of oblivious here. Spicy Tuna is here. He's going to be able to see them here. We'll likely have to flash. We'll not flash. We'll flash over this wall, though. And that's still going to be a positive note here for Final Boss Esports, as they are going to be able to pick up the flash from Castro. That's why I always ward there. That's why I'm just like, nope, I'm not standing there. My ward will do the trick there. But I mean, hey, you know what? It's the first offensive play that Final Boss Esports has made this series, and I think that's their first early game win that they can really take from this into this third game. So good on Final Boss Esports to find that flash. DZG bot lane gonna have to play a little safer here.
Yeah, but I also want to note that Karthus has no ability to move because he opted for Smite Exhaust. So if that jungler is caught out at any given time, he is dead.
That's interesting. As Kenny gonna be able to find Shactus here. We'll dodge out on the Counter Strike. Shactus, buddy, let's not get a repeat from game 2 going where Counter Strikes are just whipping back and forth. But holding that note on the junglers, we're actually seeing an early invade from DZG's jungler onto the Raptors. We'll likely get spotted here if he goes for the red buff next, as it does look like Final Boss Esports did ward up their red buff. He will actually go towards this towards red buff. Uh-oh, Castro gonna get taken down here. Doesn't have flash available to him. Ghost gonna be popped. That's heal. That's gonna be flash. That's gonna be a tick down, and that's gonna be the poison picked up. DZG gonna be taken down, gonna be given first blood over to Falte here, as not respecting the lack of flash here is Castro.
But I also want to say that potentially Lou had an opportunity to try to block the Brahms Q before it hit, because he knows his ADC doesn't have any ability to get out, and it's just something, you know, you have your ability to flash, so why not protect your ADC a little bit?
Right, absolutely. I mean, to quote a great support player that I got to run some 2v2s with, your job as support is just to give up your health bar for your ADC. It doesn't matter, even if you're a enchanter, just give up that health. Your health is just essentially another way for your ADC to survive. And in that situation, that should have been the case. Eat that Q, let your ADC survive, let him be able to farm and not set yourself further behind. But Castro is back in lane. He's trying to catch up on some of the CS. Is actually going to go fairly even here in CS. Faulty going to be able to back and pick up a longsword and a dagger, so it's definitely going to be a dagger for DZG here. Zanik is going to get potentially ganked here. That's an early gank from Zeta. Doesn't have, either missed the wall of pain or doesn't have access to wall of pain, but it is still going to be a lot of damage taken by Andicus here. Flash still available for him though, but AliXO could look for a re-engage here once her abilities come back up. But Andicus looking to crash this wave, hopefully sets himself up for a TP and be able to come back to lane relatively healthy. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Canny just being Canny, using that flame spitter to just kind of whittle down Shactus on this Jax, setting himself up for a CS lead already. Karthus is here though. Let's hold this thought, as Andicus is going to set himself up once again for a regank here. Going to be able to use that wall here. Wall of Pain though is not available for Zeta. I don't think Zeta took it here, as he's just going to be able to walk away. I mean, I think this is a very big missed opportunity here, as it looks like Zeta just did not have that slow available to him, and Andicus, despite, you know, having to use a flash, is going to be able to get away from a second gank from Zeta here on the Karthus.
Yeah, I feel like, if anything, if he didn't get that wall of pain, he definitely put 2 points in his Q to try to get his clears a little bit faster. But I feel like this Jarvan is definitely...
Oh, Shactus going pretty low here. Flash going to come through as well. Overheat, though. Candy doesn't have abilities as he's chasing down into Zeta, who is level 4. Will likely have access to that wall of pain now. Flash going to not be available for Candy. He's going to be able to walk away. Shactus going to get away as well. But Candy, once again, showing that lane dominance. Just not letting Shactus really play the game here. Candy happy feeding, though. Not getting hit by those Skittles here. Shactus is still here, stopping that recall. Trying to prevent his Karthus from going down here. Trying to get the wave to crash. Counter-Strike going to be there as well. Going to be a quick jump away as well. Candy is likely just going to be able to hold this. Just not getting hit by any of these. Going to look to deal more damage here. Zeta eating a lot here. Overheat still on the horizon there, but he's going to be able to walk away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, AliXO up a bit of CS onto Andicus here. 3 more CS is likely going to be up at least 1 CS onto Andicus here, but Andicus not too upset by this. Is going to be a bit down on gold, I guess, as AliXO was able to come back with double dagger boots. Uh-oh. Castro going to be CC'd again. Doesn't have access to flash yet again, though, so that's going to be probably another kill going to be picked up by Falte here. That's going to be a quick 2-0 for Final Boss Esports ADC, as he's looking fairly comfortable on this Twitch, and DZG just, unfortunately, not respecting the lack of vision. I don't even think that's just the lack of flash, just the lack of vision control, and not expecting the Final Boss bot lane to be there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the situation you just don't want as an ADC to kind of face check, and Zeri has a free ability that you could face with, that you can check the bushes with the Q, but he's just not doing it. It's just that lack of caution.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely not the position you want to be if you're DZG. Giving these 2 kills to Twitch is essentially not as terrifying as giving 2 kills over to a Jinx early or another hyper carry, but Twitch is nothing to scoff at. He does a lot of damage, and given free resources, will become a menace that DZG may not be able to handle right away. Especially if he gets kind of going a little sooner rather than later. Especially because, I mean, you don't want to really force yourself to dive onto the Twitch early to stop him from doing things if you're the Jarvan or the Yasuo, because, I mean, that spray and pray is still going to do a lot of damage. Meanwhile, looks like Karthus is going to be able to pick up these Voidlings here, the Void Grubs, pretty quickly here. We'll likely get 3 here and into a double ADC. Not the best thing in the world to give up early here, as it looks like DZG's trying to go for this dragon maybe a little quickly, as they're not sure where the Karthus is. Pings are coming through as well for Final Boss to pick up some vision control onto this dragon. Canny pushing the Shactus in, hit the level 6, did use the equalizer. Shactus just hit level 6 though, and does have his ultimate available as well. Andicus doesn't have wall just yet, eating a lot of damage here. 1 more auto will be enough, but no, the bomb will pop without the reset, and AliXO looking a little bit better, a little less worse for wear here, as DZG is looking to start this dragon. We'll get spotted on a ward, but it likely means that DZG will be able to trade this first set of grubs for the dragon. However, Karthus is hovering this topside jungle, looking to invade DZG and take up that blue buff, and just trying to accelerate his pace of the game and get to Malignance as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's kind of flipped. We've seen DZG in the past this game and the last game, kind of prioritize the dragon. Meanwhile, Final Boss Esports has prioritized the grubs each game, so it's kind of expected that they would focus there. It is unfortunate that this Zeta is kind of being able to free farm. He's kind of getting to that scaling that he wants to get his items, and he's not really being punished with wards and kind of, you know, being caught out trying to do anything just because he has no ability to really move away from a fight.
Right. I mean, absolutely. I mean, we see DZ Jungler finally get up there. Actually, his blue still up. I think Karthus only got the wolves, so not the worst thing in the world, but definitely not making as much impact as you would hope to see from the Jarvan. Not enough gank pressure, likely being from like his lanes either being fully pushed up or being dead in terms of that Zeri, or the mid lane just not finding an option here. It makes it a little bit hard to kind of be more effective than the Karthus, who is just kind of farming and is up about 10 CS, just about 2 camps onto the Jarvan, which means that, I mean, essentially, Karthus is winning right now. He's pretty content with the fact that he is just scaling up and getting all the camps that he needs to get towards that Malignance. No gank assist or kill just yet, so it does still slow it down a bit, but, I mean, nothing too much to complain about, as Karthus is just happily farming up, trying to get to that Malignance, and DZG is still trying to kind of figure out how they can not necessarily get themselves back in the game, because they're not super far away from the game, but kind of make up for some of these early game mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's just gonna do what they did in game 2 and try to prioritize the Drakes and try to be around for this. That was a great
Flash coming through. Shaktus doesn't have Counter-Strike available, and Candy's looking to chase down. Flash coming up in just a few more seconds. The Horde jump is going to be there as well. The Flash still not up for at least another 5 seconds, as Candy not going to be able to chase him down. Flash still not up, coming up in just a few more seconds. Is up, I think, now, but Shaktus is going to be able to get away. But Candy still has about a 20 CS lead and will be able to crash this wave. Teleport not available for Shaktus either. AliXO trying to dodge out. Will not find it. Last breath going to land as well. The Flash Buster Shot going to be there as well. The Karthus Requiem going to land as well. Ooh, AliXO going pretty low. Anarchist going to find the solo kill despite the Karthus intervention, despite the AliXO Buster Shot insect into the turret. Does not matter. Anarchist, being the wind god himself, just flowing with the wind.
Yeah, and Karthus kind of got greedy and said, you know what, I bet you if I ult right here, it's going to be enough. But, you know, honestly, with the amount of pressure, I feel like just sitting mid is just the optimal choice in this one, just because bot lane is doing well for Final Boss Esports. Braum is able to land all of his Qs on to Zeri easily. Top lane, it's not really one that you want to participate on because you don't really want Rumble to kind of turn his heat onto you. So I feel like mid is where you really need to focus your strength on, just so that you can have a mid lane kind of pressure and get the side lanes. But at the same time, now we're seeing a gank from Jarvan.
Shaktus doesn't have Flash available. Ooh, the knockup will miss though. Shaktus, though, likely will not be able to get out of this. The kill will be donated over to Canny, and that is a easy pickup here for DZG. A good gank here by J4. The flashless Shaktus just not able to do anything. Ali, though, potentially getting run down here. Zeta is here. Kaiser Coolness is available here as well. Does have access to that wild growth and the polymorph as well. It looks like the roam is just to try to get these grubs set up and not give 4 grubs over to Final Boss Esports. Zeri just happily free farming, as it doesn't look like any pressure was really applied here by the Twitch and the Braum, but it's going to be the rotation just a little too late. It will be abandoned by the Final Boss bot lane, as they will just walk their way back down to bot and give up the second set of Void grubs, and neither team gets the touch of Void. And Karthus, looking to maybe set up some sort of dive in the bot lane, will be forced to reset, as Zeri is just not there, and will likely miss the Zeri on the reset or on the back. And DZG looking kind of back into this game. Oh, Zeta will hold his back here. If he waits long enough, he's waiting long enough. I mean, he's trying to wait for these Krugs that are coming up. Will still miss the Zeri, so kind of good for DZG, bad for Zeta here. Sweepers coming through. We'll get spotted on some of these wards here. Zeta will likely take the reset here, and Karthus will pick up that Malignance, though, and that's the big thing that you want to see Karthus pick up. It's going to reduce the cooldown on those ultimates. It's going to apply that burn on top of wherever the Requiem lands, and it's just a massive first buy. I mean, it just allows that ulti more than anything to just be up sooner. DZG is going to catch this wave. Castro happily picking this up. The Bork finished now onto Falte, and DZG just trying to kind of match up some of these items as well. Second Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. DZG doesn't have to be too pressed to fight this, but it does look like they're positioning pretty aggressively here. Might be able to find Spicy Tuna here. It's going to get slow, going to get the Glitter Lance landed. The knock-up from Jarvan not there, as it looks like the flag just didn't come through. AliXO going to be forced to jump, and DZG still positioning pretty aggressively here. Teleport available for both top laners. Actually, no, just Canny has a teleport available. Anik is a little bit zoned off here, so he would likely have to go around or try to get this next wave as DZG tries to slow things down. TP coming through, deep TP here, as it's going to be Final Boss Esports trying to run away. Wall of Pain going to be used here. Canny just going to use this pressure just to get this kind of going. Teleport, unfortunately, not available for Andicus as it was used, but that teleport is more than enough to allow DZG to be able to pick up this dragon. The ultimate from Karthus is going to slow down the Canny. Recall, and it looks like Shaq is going to get some alone time with that turret. Going to pick up some plates. But overall, DZG extending that objective lead, at least. 3 grubs, 2 dragons, but still falling a bit short on that gold department by just about 500 gold.
It is still wild to me that this Karthus has not been punished, because he did go Smite Exhaust, but he has no boots.
Yeah.
He's literally walking around on the king.
Yeah.
And granted, I understand, Jarvan doesn't really want to catch him solo, but I feel like with kind of Ziri or, Yasuo, you can get those rotations going and catch this Karthus, because he's not exactly making it hard to figure out where he is. He's definitely going for the optimal routes in terms of counter jungling, and you can find him. If your blue's coming up, you can guarantee he's probably there.
Yeah, and I mean, you're exactly to that point. He is there. Canny, though, is here. AliXO could get first rotate. That is going to be a teleport coming in from the Shaq. It's still going to be the Rumble ulti available here as well. Shaq is going to eat a bit of that ultimate as well. Ali is here. Counter-Strike going to be missing there from the flash of Canny. Andicus just kind of baiting it out. Is going to be able to use that wind ball to deal some bit of the damage. The Counter-Strike will likely be coming back up soon. Good buster shot there by Ali, as she was going to get knocked up by that delayed Keyblade, though, and it is still going to be a disengage here, but a blue buff deterred here as the Rifthold is up and available here. Karthus ulti not available just yet. Canny is still here, doesn't have his ultimate either. Cataclysm and the ultimate are here. DZG's support is here as well, ready to fight for this Herald. It looks like DZG is going to still be able to take this objective, which is likely not going to be contested, as Final Boss Esports does not feel comfortable doing it. Speaking of no boots, Shaq just doesn't have boots either. He actually just straight up sold his starter item to make sure he could finish that Triforce. Ooh, Castro getting slowed down here. Does have flash available, but it won't be a full commit here. Rifthold will be taken by DZG. Another neutral objective taken here, as Andicus shows up in the mid lane. AliXO could get slowed down here. Kaiser Coolness is here as well. Karthus, Wall of Pain will get dodged out by Andicus. And DZG reduces that gold lead back down to under 1,000. And I mean, despite those early mishaps, I mean, not looking too bad by DZG. Final Boss Esports still trying to find the best ways to leverage this Twitch early game lead. It's just not looking like they're making the most out of it just yet.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of expected some roams just because you can punish with a Twitch that can get ahead, but it's kind of wild to me that, Shaq just doesn't want to have boots, considering how much this Rumble has been running him down.
Yeah. Literally, and I mean, it's more like, I mean, honestly, I think Canny's got his number. I think Shaqtus has missed way more Counter-Strikes than he's hit, and it's just, I mean, the lack of boots definitely makes it really hard, right? Because Canny gets that that speed up, knock-up gonna land here, Cataclysm is available here, good delay here, or good, patience here to force Shaqtus to jump before using that Cataclysm, forcing him to flash out of that, gonna allow Canny for a lot more, just punishability here up in the top lane. The Herald is going to crash here, going to likely be able to pick up that first turret up in the top lane. That is going to be first turret picked up by DZG, as they're going to take their first gold lead of the game. Ooh, Andicus looking to engage here. Zeta is here, though. Andicus might not be too aware, though. He's going to be able to pick up that big Raptor, though, so he will be okay. Kaiser Coolness needs to be a little careful as well. Faulty's here. Going to drop the Venom Vial. That is still going to be a flash. Rat-a-tat-tat, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. It used to be that, now it's not. Castro, though, taking dangerously low here. Gonna be use that wild growth there. The turnaround coming through. Andicus is here. Zeta, though, close to follow. It's a 3v3. Spicy Tuna taking dangerously low here. Castro still free hitting. Is gonna be able to pick up the kill. Faulty gonna be able to proc that play of the Road King, but it won't be enough. Castro just kiting, and he's gonna be able to pick this up. Castro, though, might be a little bit more dangerous there. Oh, he ends up autoing, I think, attack moving the Golem there, or the Krug, and it actually stays in that skill range for Karthus. It actually goes down, gives over I think a shutdown over, but it is still going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of DZG, and they are solidifying that gold lead now to just over 2,000.
Yeah, and Karthus has decided to buy boots, but he built ability haste boots, which surprises me instead of magic pen, just because you already have the ability haste inside the malignant. So I'm not quite sure if you really need that. I feel like it's just you're just not gonna put out as much damage. But you know, I haven't played Karthus in a bit though.
I guess he's expecting not to need the magic pen. I guess Rumble likely won't build it. It would just be the J4. But I agree. I mean, I would think you would still go for that to just essentially deal close to, if not true damage with that ultimate, with the lack of magic resist that it would, burn through. I mean, I understand the reasoning, I guess, like you said, for Lucidity to get an extra cooldown reduction on that ultimate. Hold that thought. DZG trying to engage here. Big Cataclysm here, but Zeri is free hitting now. He's going to be able to pop a lot of damage. The Cataclysm combo with the Rumble ulti will be massive here. That's going to be a triple kill. Picked up by Candy with that teleport. Shaktus TP is just a tad bit too late. And by a tad, I mean extremely late. It is not able to do anything in that fight as Atticus is just running down Shaktus here. Going to be able to dash. Counter-Strike will land. Atticus will not be able to continue to follow up here. But DZG just has that massive fight that you want to see. That Cataclysm. The Equalizer. Castro not even using the ulti, just being able to free hit with that laser and those auto attacks and that static shift proc, and then even Anarchus not able to really join the fight. But Canny picking up that triple kill, comboing perfectly exactly what they need to do, and DZG is going to be able to pick up that third dragon, put themselves on soul point again, pick up another turret, and extend their gold lead, actually match the gold lead. It went down, so I mean, it's like almost 3,000 gold, but still, I mean, DZG looking once again real good in these neutral objectives, and once again putting themselves in a soul point in 3 dragons, just like game number 2.
Yeah, and we're seeing definitely the fights go with Rumble just having that super impactful ult. I mean, Jax is definitely not as impactful of Canny currently. That he just is unable to play, and you either can join team fights or you can split push. If you can't do both, it's going to be really hard to, as a top laner, to kind of come back and get this game going for your team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, Shaktus, you should have turned around, buddy. Here comes Jarvan as well. Shaktus eating a lot of damage, but here comes Falte as well. They're looking to get these shutdowns. Canny will not be able to get away from the Karthus Requiem. That is going to be a shutdown picked up by Zeta here. But here comes the rest of DZG trying to find Twitch here. Will actually only find Spicy Tuna here. 3-man knockup, though. Here comes Zeta. Knockup. Cataclysm available as well. Should they want to use it, but that's going to be the Zeri ulti, the Zeri passive as well. That's a teleport coming through as Tristana's on her way here. Yasuo doesn't have teleport either, but that's going to be a 3 for 2 so far, 3 for 1 so far. Ali gonna get polymorph here. Well, girl's gonna be enough as well to knock up the CC. Triple kill picked up by Castro here. That's gonna be an ace for DZG, and that's gonna be an extension to the 4,000 gold. Yasuo gonna be able to take down that tier 2 turret up in the bot lane. Actually won't have enough minions, but DZG finding the fight that they needed. Once again, just being there at the right time, collapsing where they need to, and just doing everything they can correctly, womboing what they need, and man, it's looking real rough if you're Final Boss Esports. It's looking like a repeat of game 1 and 2.
Yeah, I feel like it's just hard to surpass the mid difference. If you're looking at it from a perspective, Karthus tried ganking twice early, nothing happened. And basically, Andy has failed yet again on a comfort champion, no less.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely mid lane, and I mean top lane. It's just been the most diffus in the top lane jiffus. I don't know. It's been just this crazy top diff. I want to say across all 3 games. I mean, especially game 2 and 3. But I mean, Candy's just looking real good. Like, he's just not letting Shaktus play the game. He's essentially making Shaktus a non-factor like these last 2 games. And it shows. I mean, Jax really can't do anything even into a situation where it's not into Canny. And I mean, aside from Zeta being able to pick up that kill with that Requiem, which is just about up again, it's just making it really, really difficult for Final Boss Esports to find Zeri, to find the Yasuo, and I mean, just that one Requiem to find Canny on the Rumble. But yeah, I mean, DZG looking fairly comfortable here. Baron is up, Dragon's up in another 2 minutes. DZG's trying to push out these waves, have now settled on a 1-3-1 with Yasuo and Rumble on the side lanes. Champions that may potentially not be able to be answered in a 1v1 situation. Though it doesn't stop Final Boss from trying, as Shaktus is on his way down to the bot lane trying to match Canny here. Maybe looking for a Tristana match as well, trying to maybe get a 2v1 situation, but Anarchus is pushing up that top lane. Twitch will respond, and DZG just looking to continue this prio, maybe looking to pick up the standing gold in the mid lane and open up this map just a tad bit more.
Yeah, it's honest.
Spicy Tuna eating a lot of damage. Does have the wall, though. Ali XO there. Gonna get Polymorph. Gonna get kind of chased down here. Spicy Tuna gonna only hit one there, and he is gonna pay for the sins of his mid lane ADC here. Cataclysm gonna come through as well. Ali doesn't have jump here. Anika's gonna be able to flash in. Gonna be able to pick him up. The knock up there, that's a big commitment on Default. Flash gonna come through. Requiem gonna be there as well. Anika's taking dangerously low there, trying to run away. Faulty is there. Zeta gonna find him with a well-timed skill there. And that is going to be a shutdown picked up. Another one for Zeta. A little bit scary if you're DZG. That's a second shutdown that Zeta's been able to pick up on this Karthus. So it's a tad bit scary, since Karthus is really the biggest threat here if you're DZG's early game. Now sitting on that Shadow Flame as well. Dragon coming up in 50 seconds. DZG trying to clear some vision. Trying to pick up this Rift Scuttle. And trying to maybe get a quick reset before this Dragon spawns. Or at least... the jungler is, but yeah, looks like DZG trying to get a quick reset and set themselves up for this Dragon Soul.
But that also means that potentially this Karthus, it has to delay it if he has any interest in getting his ult back. So it's terrible that they, you know, ended up giving that bounty over, but at the same time, Karthus should not have his ult for quite a little tiny bit, so that he won't be able to kind of push anyone off of the dragon yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Requiem is about 3/4 of the way back up here. It is a very short cooldown now. It's all that CDR that he has. Oh, and LAXO going to get in there. Kaiser Coolness. That's going to be a big ulti, though. The Cataclysm is available should he want to use it, but it does not matter. J4 doesn't have to worry too much, and that's going to be a triple kill again. Picked up by Canny. 8-1-0. Jack just going pretty low here. There's the Cataclysm that we were talking about, and that's going to be a clean ace. Once again for DZG. Requiem just now coming up. I don't think he has enough time to cast it, so that is just going to be a clean ace, and that's going to be the soul picked up by DZG, as it is going to be Yasuo soloing that Anarchist on that Yasuo, and the rest of DZG going to be able to pick up the Baron, and that's 2 neutral objectives. The Chemtech soul picked up, and the Baron buff picked up here, and this is bound to be a DZG kind of push potential, or a 1-3-1 to try to look for closing out this game.
Yeah, if you were Final Boss Esports, if you see the Lulu, that isn't exactly the pick you want before a dragon. You want that Rumble. Maybe the Yasuo, but definitely the Rumble. And unfortunately, Karthus was not anywhere near the fight when they found them. So it looks like everyone's just kind of, maybe it's been the past 2 games, but mentally it seems like they're just not on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it's just like they haven't been able to catch up back up on that momentum. It's been really rough for Final Boss Esports, you know, coming in as the first seed in their division, going up to DZG, who many thought were just gonna kind of keel over and die essentially, but it's been a tough recovery. Game 1, I mean, Final Boss tried something different, they tried something new, didn't work out. They thought Game 2 would be a little different, and DZG just kind of proved that it didn't matter what comp they played. They were going to run them down anyways, and now it's this Game 3. Like you said, mental could be struggling. The communications definitely seem off in terms of what the team wants to do, but I mean, it's getting rough. Kenny, though, getting caught out here. Spicy Tuna will be able to knock him up. Faulty trying to pick up this shutdown once again. That's a 400 gold shutdown on top of the kill, and that is going to be a kill picked up. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, DZG trying to pick up these kills. The Wall of Pain is there. Jarvan going to be able to dodge up. And meanwhile, in the bot lane, DZG's trying to push this in, trying to make up for Canny's, the amount of resources that they put in for Canny, and they are going to be able to pick up this bot lane tier 2 turret. DZG, though, stuck in a 4v5 situation. 25 seconds on Canny. Does have teleport available if DZG wants to keep this going. We'll have to play it just a tad bit slow here, as it does look like this jungle is going to become DZG's. I mean, yeah, the siege will continue. Teleport 10 more seconds, and Canny can join back up. Jarvan here, though, trying to EQ, maybe if needed, out of there. That's 3 mid, 2 in the bot lane, as DZG could get collapsed on here. They do need to be a bit careful. Canny is here, though. There is a teleport. Should they collapse, Canny can TP. Canny is going to be TP here, as Jarvan is leading the wave here in the mid lane, empowering it with the Baron minion. That is still going to be a 1-4 right now, as Jarvan's crashing this wave. Wave for DZG is coming, though, as honestly, Jarvan's just free hitting here. They're not doing anything to stop him. Does have the EQ to get out, and he will get out. And honestly, Final Boss Esports seem lost. They cannot stop this siege from happening. Cataclysm coming through onto Zeta. Zeta trying to get locked up here. That's a massive equalizing here. Shaq just trying to stun. We'll get 3-man stun. Shaq just not able to do anything, though, here. He is going to get taken down. Meanwhile, Castro on the top side of the map is hitting here. Spicy Tuna pretty low here, trying to pick up that chain lightning here. That is going to be another kill. Anakin's going to be in there as well. Just Faulty left. 1v5 situation. Can he pull it off? Faulty going to get knocked up. The last breath going to come through as well. And that's going to be the ace, and surely the series, as DZG takes down the top seed of the opposite division, because I don't know, it's Zon and Piltover, takes down the top seed. And in a convincing 3-0 fashion, I think is still faster than their game number 2. Still at 26 minutes, but I think it was still faster, as DZG proves that it wasn't a fluke to win the last 3 games, and that they can hit way above their batting range.
Yeah, it seems like unfortunate for Final Boss Esports that DZG Arcadia has kind of just hit their stride and has continued kind of plowing all the teams that they faced so far. And I look forward to seeing if they can continue this next week.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was, at least based on Blue Water official content, a very expected 3-0 for Final Boss Esports, but DZG definitely turned that on its head, showing why they are a true contender to take this all the way and should be very, very happy with their performance here. But I mean, I got to give it to DZG. They, like you said, they hit their stride. They are pushing through, and they are going to be taking names, and this was the first one on their list. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I mean, I'm just going to keep singing their praises if we kind of keep going, because I mean, DZG just played this immaculate. I mean, Final Boss Esports got more kills as the game progressed, or as the series progressed. I think they went from 2 to 5 to 7. So, you know what? A little better each time. But yeah, any thoughts, Silent, before we kind of close this out?
Absolutely none. Just praises for DZG Arcadia, and I look forward to seeing what they do next week.
Absolutely, and we'll be back next week for the semifinal matchup. But thank you so much for watching tonight. It's been a fantastic series, and we will see you next time.